universe does not give you what you want, it gives you what you are. For centuries, mystics and sages have whispered this truth, not as a riddle, but as a key that unlocks a reality so fundamentally different from the one most of us are taught to perceive. It is a truth that echoes in the silent chambers of your own heart, especially in those quiet moments when the noise of the world fades and you are left alone with a deep, unanswered longing. Why does a feeling of not enough cling to you like a shadow? Why does the abundance you see in the world, the ease, the flow, the vibrant richness of life, so often feel as though it is behind a pane of glass, visible but untouchable? You have followed the rules, you have worked hard, you have strived and struggled, yet there remains a persistent ache, a sense that you are on the outside looking in, a stranger to the feast of existence. This feeling, this quiet desperation, is not a sign of your failure. It is a sign that you are waking up. It is the first tremor of a profound remembering. This journey we are about to embark upon together is not another guide to accumulating more. It is not a strategy for hustling or a set of tactics for grasping at external things. It is something far more radical, far more transformative. This is a journey of return, a journey inward to dissolve the fog of inherited beliefs that have convinced you of your own scarcity. We are not here to build you up, but to help you strip away all that is not you, so that the magnificent, inherently worthy being that you have always been can finally be seen and felt. We will travel together into the heart of what it means to be truly wealthy, a wealth of spirit, a wealth of energy, a wealth of inner peace, which then, as a natural and effortless reflection, blossoms into the world of form. This is not about getting something you do not have. It is about reclaiming the infinite treasure that already resides within you. The door is before you. The key is to understand who you are. Let us now turn that key. Before we can speak of wealth, of abundance, of deserving, we must first journey to the root of the feeling that denies them all. We must speak of the great forgetting. This is not a personal failure or a flaw unique to you. It is a collective human condition, a subtle amnesia that descends upon us, a fog that rolls in so slowly we do not notice the sun has vanished. You were not born feeling unworthy. No child enters this world believing they are lacking. A newborn does not question its right to be fed, to be held, to be loved. This right is assumed. It is instinctual. It is absolute. The universe, in that pure and primal state, responds in kind. The cry is met with comfort, the hunger with nourishment. There is no negotiation, no need to prove one's value. Existence itself is the only qualification required. So where did it begin? Where was the first seed of doubt planted? This feeling of unworthiness that now feels so real, so solid, is an imposter. It is a ghost that has taken up residence in your sacred inner space, a story written by other hands that you have mistaken for your own autobiography. It is a legacy passed down through generations, whispered in the subtle anxieties of our parents, screamed from the billboards of our culture, and carved into our psyche by the painful moments we misunderstood. Let us look at this inheritance. Society, with its relentless engine of comparison, is the first architect of this lie. From the moment you could understand language, you were taught a vocabulary of lack. You need this product to be beautiful. You need that accomplishment to be respected. You must climb this ladder to be deemed successful. Your value became conditional, a prize to be won through endless striving, rather than a truth to be lived. You learned to measure your inner world by an external, ever-shifting ruler. You looked at others who seemed to have more, to be more, and with each comparison, a small piece of your innate certainty was chipped away. Social media became a curated gallery of everyone else's perceived perfection, a constant silent judgment against your own messy, beautiful human reality. The message was clear, even if unspoken. You, as you are not quite enough. You are a project to be fixed, a problem to be solved, a potential to be realized, but never, ever, a being to simply be. Then, there is the more intimate programming, woven into the very fabric of your upbringing. Your caregivers, in their own love and their own fear, passed down the beliefs that were handed to them. Perhaps you heard the anxious refrain, "Money doesn't grow on trees," and you internalized that abundance is scarce and difficult to attain. Perhaps you were told to be realistic. A well-intentioned warning that taught you to trim your dreams to fit the size of a smaller reality. They were protecting you from the disappointment they themselves had known. They were teaching you the rules of a game they believed to be real. In doing so, they unknowingly built the first walls around your infinite nature. Every time you were told you were too loud, too sensitive, too quiet, too much, you learned that your authentic expression was something to be managed, controlled, and even shamed. And so you began to hide parts of yourself, believing those parts were unworthy of love and acceptance. You began the process of self-abandonment. Now, let us bring in the most powerful collaborator in this great forgetting, your own mind and its interpretation of your past. Every failure, every rejection, every heartbreak became evidence in a court case against your own worth. The business that failed was not an experience, it was a verdict. You are not capable. The relationship that ended was not a lesson in compatibility, it was a judgment. You are not lovable. These painful moments created deep grooves in your neural pathways, and your ego, in its desire to protect you from future pain, began to use them as a map. It started to whisper warnings. Don't try that again. Remember what happened last time. Don't open your heart. You'll only get hurt. The stories of past pain became the bars of a prison designed to keep you safe, but ultimately keeping you small. Imagine your mind as a vast, fertile garden. When you were born, the soil was pure, rich, and ready to grow anything. Its potential was limitless. But very early on, before you were the conscious gardener of your own space, seeds were scattered by the winds of your environment. A seed of comparison from a teacher, a seed of guilt from a religious teaching, a seed of scarcity from your family's dinner table, a seed of fear from a news report. These were not your seeds. You did not choose them. But they landed in the fertile soil of your mind, and they began to grow, silently, persistently, until their roots ran deep. They became the pervasive weeds of unworthiness. Now, as an adult, you decide you want to plant a beautiful garden. You want to cultivate joy, abundance, and peace. So you begin to practice affirmations. You stand in the mirror and plant a flower of "I am wealthy." But this beautiful, delicate flower is planted in soil that is already choked with the deep, tangled roots of the weed of "You'll never have enough." You plant a rose of "I am worthy of love." But it struggles for sunlight, overshadowed by the thorny vine of "You are not lovable," a vine that has been growing for decades. This is why positive thinking alone so often fails. It is an attempt to cultivate a new reality on top of an old, unhealed foundation. It is like painting a mural on a crumbling wall. The true work, the sacred work, is not just in planting new flowers. It is in the patient, courageous act of weeding. This is our task together. To get down on our hands and knees, to feel the soil of our own consciousness, and to begin to gently, lovingly pull out these weeds by their roots. This is not a violent act. We do not curse the weeds. We do not fight them. That would only give them more energy. Instead, we do something far more powerful. We simply see them. We observe them with a detached curiosity. We hold up a belief like, "I have to work hard to deserve money," and we ask with genuine wonder, "Is this really true? Whose voice is this? Where did I learn this?" In the light of your conscious awareness, the weed begins to lose its power. Its roots begin to loosen. You realize it is not an intrinsic part of the garden. It is a foreign entity, a visitor that has overstayed its welcome. Take a moment now. Feel the truth of this in your body. Where does the feeling of "not enough" live inside of you? Is it a tightness in your throat, a knot in your stomach, a weight on your shoulders? That physical sensation is the energetic root of the weed. It is the signature of the great forgetting. Breathe into that space. Do not try to change it or fix it. Simply illuminate it with your breath, with your awareness. Acknowledge its presence. You can even say to it, silently, "I see you. I know you are a story. I know you are not the truth of who I am." This is the beginning of liberation. It is the first step in remembering. The lie of unworthiness, is the single greatest obstacle to a life of abundance. It is the distorted lens through which you perceive a universe of infinite possibility as a world of limitation and lack. It is the static on the radio that prevents you from hearing the beautiful music the cosmos is constantly playing for you. To reclaim your wealth, you must first reclaim your worth. And to reclaim your worth, you must be willing to unlearn a lifetime of programming. You must be willing to question every belief that makes you feel small, every story that makes you feel separate, every habit that reinforces your sense of lack. As we stand here now, at the edge of this vast, overgrown garden of the mind, you are faced with a choice. You can continue to live amongst the weeds, accepting them as the unchangeable landscape of your reality. Or you can begin the sacred work of pulling them out, one by one, to rediscover the pristine, fertile ground that lies beneath. This path requires courage, it requires patience, it requires a radical form of self-love. But it is the only path that leads back to the truth. And this is the question that will guide us forward, the first ray of sun breaking through the fog of forgetting. If this pervasive feeling of unworthiness is a lie, a learned illusion, a ghost in the machine, then what is the truth? If your value does not come from your achievements, your possessions, or the approval of others, then where, in the vast expanse of the cosmos, does your true, unshakable, and infinite worth actually reside? We have stood at the edge of the forgotten garden of the mind, and we have named the weeds of unworthiness for what they are: foreign, inherited, and ultimately untrue. This recognition brings with it a profound silence, a space in which a new question can finally breathe. If the stories of my lack are false, if my value is not determined by my productivity, my status, or the ever-shifting opinions of the world, then where is it? Where is the bedrock upon which I can build a life, not of frantic earning, but of joyful being? The answer is at once the simplest and most radical truth you will ever embrace. Your value is not located in anything you do, anything you have, or anything you achieve. Your value is unconditional, and its source is your very existence, the simple, sacred, and miraculous fact that you are. That is the beginning and the end of the argument. You are valuable simply because you exist. Let this sink past the defenses of your mind. Your intellect will immediately fight this. It will call it naive, simplistic, even dangerous. The ego, which has built its entire identity on striving and proving, will see this truth as a threat to its very survival. It has been trained for a marathon of performance, and we are telling it that the race was an illusion from the start. For your entire life, you have been taught to function as a human doing, not a human being. You have been asked, "What do you do?" far more often than, "Who are you?" You have learned to introduce yourself with a job title, a role, a list of accomplishments. You have built a house of self-esteem on the fragile stilts of external validation, and you know in your heart of hearts how precarious this house is. When the job is lost, does your worth evaporate? When the children grow up and your role as a full-time parent shifts, do you cease to be valuable? If a project fails, or your body ages, or your wealth diminishes, are you suddenly less of a person? To tether your worth to the transient circumstances of the world is to condemn yourself to a life of perpetual anxiety. It is to ride a roller coaster of elation and despair, your sense of self soaring with every success and crashing with every setback. The world gave you that validation, and the world can and will take it away. True worth, the kind that can anchor you in any storm, must be sourced from a place that the world cannot touch. Consider a tree. Is a tree valuable only when it is bearing fruit? Do we walk through an orchard in the winter and declare the bare, sleeping trees to be worthless? Number. We understand that its value is inherent in its treeness, its strength, its deep roots, its connection to the earth, its potential for life. The fruit is a seasonal expression of its nature. It is not the source of its worth. Consider the sun. The sun does not struggle to prove its value. It does not perform for our applause. It simply shines, because that is its nature. Its warmth and light, which give life to our entire solar system, are a consequence of its being, not a task it must complete to justify its existence. We, as human beings, are the only creatures in the universe who have been convinced that we must earn our right to be here. We have inverted the sacred law of nature. Let us now hold the central metaphor for this truth in our minds, a metaphor so profound it can permanently recalibrate your understanding of self. Consider a diamond. A diamond is formed deep within the earth, under conditions of unimaginable pressure and heat. It spends millennia in total darkness, unseen, unknown, unvalidated. In that silent, solitary crucible, its fundamental nature is forged. Its crystalline structure, its unbreakable hardness, its latent potential to refract light into 1,000 rainbows, all of it is established and perfected long before any human eye has seen it. Its value is not bestowed upon it at the moment of its discovery. Its value is inherent, absolute, and forged in the heart of creation itself. You are that diamond. Your essential self, your soul, your unique spark of consciousness was not created when you were given a name. It was forged in the heart of the cosmos, a singular, unrepeatable expression of universal intelligence. Your intrinsic worth was sealed at the moment of your becoming, long before you had a history, a personality, or a bank account. Now, imagine that diamond, after eons, is brought to the surface. It is caked in dirt, mud, and stone. It is rough, unpolished, and its inner brilliance is entirely obscured. From the outside, it might look like a common pebble. This is the state most of us find ourselves in. We are covered in the mud of our past conditioning, the dirt of our self-doubt, the stone of our limiting beliefs. We look at our reflection and see only the grime. We believe the grime is who we are. But does the mud diminish the value of the diamond within? Not for a single instant. To a trained eye, a geologist who knows what to look for, the potential is still visible beneath the surface. This is what happens in moments of grace. Perhaps when you are reading these words, now a part of you, the wise inner geologist, recognizes the truth beneath the accumulated debris of your life. Then, the diamond is taken to a cutter. The artisan carefully, skillfully, chips away everything that is not the diamond. This is the process of spiritual growth, of healing, of self-discovery. It can be painful. It feels like parts of you are being broken off. But what is being removed is only the rough exterior, the parts that obscure your true nature. The diamond itself is never harmed. With every piece of stone that falls away, more of its inner light is revealed. Finally, polished and perfect, the diamond might be placed on a velvet cushion in a museum, admired by all. This is the equivalent of external success and recognition. But listen closely. The museum setting did not create the diamond's value. It merely showcases the value that was inherent from the very beginning, from its time in the silent, pressurized darkness. The diamond was just as much a diamond when it was buried in mud as it is now, sitting under the bright lights. This is the truth of you. Right now, in this moment, regardless of your circumstances, regardless of how much mud you feel you are covered in, your core value is pristine. It is untouched. Your financial status is the mud. The opinions of others are the mud. Your history of failures is the mud. It is all external to the indestructible crystalline essence of who you are. Stop identifying with the mud. You are the diamond. If this metaphor still feels too abstract, let us bring it into the most intimate and undeniable reality of your experience. The currency of being is life itself. Right now, place your attention on your breath. Feel the air entering your lungs, a gift from the atmosphere, and feel it leaving your body, a release, a surrender. You are not doing this. An ancient, silent intelligence is breathing you. Now, bring your awareness to your heartbeat, a steady, faithful rhythm, pumping life through your veins, a drumbeat that has been with you since the womb. You are not commanding it to beat. An intelligence far greater than your conscious mind is sustaining you, moment by moment. This life force, this organizing intelligence that can heal a wound, grow a forest, and wheel the galaxies through space, is flowing through you right now. It has chosen your body, your being, as its vessel on this earth. And here is the question that dismantles the lie of unworthiness forever. Do you truly believe that this infinite creative intelligence would choose to inhabit an unworthy vessel? Do you think the universe makes mistakes? The very fact of your breath, the very pulse of your heart, is the universe screaming its validation of you. It is a declaration that you belong here. To believe you are unworthy is to stand in argument with the entirety of creation. Your worth is not something you need to build, attract, or earn. It is something you must simply awaken to. It is the realization that you are not just a drop in the ocean, but the entire ocean in a drop. And so we stand here, holding this liberating truth. Yet, a quiet question may surface from the depths of your mind. It is a valid and important question that must be addressed. If this is true, if I am this infinitely valuable being, this diamond in the rough, why do I so often feel so empty? Why does my life feel so lacking? If the treasure is already within me, why does my hand feel so empty? The answer is simple, yet it holds the key to everything that comes next. We feel empty because we have been taught to look for the evidence of our wealth in all the wrong places. We have been searching for the reflection of the sun in a million different puddles, turning our backs on the sun itself. The richness we seek is not an external acquisition. It is an internal kingdom, waiting to be rediscovered. We have arrived at the heart of a great paradox. You are an infinitely valuable cosmic diamond, and yet you feel the persistent ache of emptiness. You hold an unshakable, inherent worth, yet your hands feel empty in a world that seems to overflow with abundance for others. This is not a contradiction, it is a misdirection. The feeling of lack does not come from an absence of value within you, but from a profound misunderstanding of what wealth truly is. We feel empty because we are starving, trying to nourish ourselves with the wrong kind of food. We have been taught to chase the mirage while ignoring the oasis right at our feet. The world has given you a dictionary with a single, flawed definition of wealth. It reads, an accumulation of external things, a number in a bank account, a portfolio of assets, a collection of possessions, a list of achievements. By this definition, wealth is something outside of you, something to be pursued, captured, and hoarded. It turns life into a great hunt, a competition where you are constantly measuring your success against the success of others. This definition places your peace, your security, and your happiness in the hands of a fickle and ever-changing world. It is the source of the destination addiction that plagues humanity. I will be happy when I get the promotion. I will feel secure when I buy the house. I will finally relax when I have $1 million. But you have seen the truth of this fallacy, either in your own life or in the lives of others. The goalposts always move. The person who dreamed of making 6 figures finds that it is not enough. The anxiety simply recalibrates to a new, higher number. The one who acquires the dream house immediately begins to worry about its upkeep, its mortgage, its security. The peace that was promised is fleeting, a ghost that disappears the moment you try to grasp it, because its existence depends on an external condition that is, by its very nature, unstable. You have seen the stories of the rich and miserable, the famous and the tormented. This is not a moralistic cliché. It is the observable result of a fundamental spiritual law. Chasing external wealth without first cultivating an internal foundation is like trying to quench a thirst by drinking salt water. It looks like the cure, but it only deepens the dehydration. It only magnifies the original thirst. So, we must tear that page from the dictionary. We must redefine wealth, not as something you get, but as something you are. True, lasting, unshakable wealth is an inner state of being. It is an inside-out phenomenon. It is the cause, not the effect. It is the root, not the fruit. Let us use a new metaphor to guide us, one that will illuminate why your efforts to feel full have been so frustrating. Imagine that your soul, your very essence, is a beautiful, handcrafted vessel, a clay pot designed to be filled with the nectar of life. When you were created, this vessel was whole, strong, and resonant. But through the process of the great forgetting, through the pains and misunderstandings of life, it developed cracks. A crack of, I am not good enough. A thin hairline crack of, I am not lovable. A deep, jagged crack of, the world is a dangerous and scarce place. A crack of shame from a past failure. A crack of guilt from a mistake. Now, your vessel is no longer whole. Holding this cracked vessel, you do what you have been taught to do. You stand under the waterfalls of the external world and try to fill it. You pour in money. You pour in praise from your boss. You pour in social media likes. You pour in a new car, a new relationship, a new accomplishment. And for a fleeting moment, you feel a sense of fullness. The water level rises. But what happens? Inevitably, the contents begin to leak out through the cracks. The money is spent or loses its thrill. The praise fades. The likes are replaced by a new post. The high of the accomplishment subsides, and you are left with the same vessel, just as empty as before, perhaps even more so, because now you are also exhausted from the impossible effort of trying to fill a container that cannot hold what you put into it. This is the source of your emptiness. You have been trying to solve an internal problem with an external solution. The great work, the only work that truly matters, is to stop trying to fill the vessel from the outside. You must turn your attention inward, and with the loving focus of a master artisan, you must begin to seal the cracks from within. And what is the sealant? What is the golden resin that can mend a broken soul? That is true wealth. Inner wealth is the deep, quiet, unshakable peace that can exist even in the middle of a storm. It is the sealant of self-acceptance, of looking at your own flaws and humanity not with judgment, but with the compassionate embrace you would offer a dear friend. Inner wealth is the vibrant flow of creative energy, the joy of losing yourself in a passion, the feeling of being truly alive and engaged with the world. It is the sealant of forgiveness, for yourself and for others, which stops the life force from leaking out through the wounds of the past. Inner wealth is the profound sense of connection you feel when you look at a sunset, hold a child's hand, or share a moment of genuine laughter, the simple, priceless treasures that the frantic pursuit of external wealth so often blinds us to. It is the wealth of a healthy body, a curious mind, and a resilient spirit. This is your kingdom. This inner landscape of peace, love, and vitality is your birthright. Your primary task in this life is not to accumulate a kingdom of things in the outer world, but to learn how to rule the kingdom within. When you apply this inner sealant of self-worth and peace, the cracks in your vessel begin to mend. The energy that was once lost to anxiety and self-criticism is now contained. The vessel becomes whole. It becomes resonant. And what happens to a whole, empty and resonant vessel when it is placed in the great river of life? It fills itself, effortlessly, naturally. This is the secret that has been kept from you. You do not need to chase and grab. You need only to become a whole container. When your inner state is one of peace and sufficiency, the universe, which is a mirror of your own consciousness, has no choice but to reflect that state back to you in your external reality. Abundance in the world flows to the person who has first cultivated abundance within. Money, opportunities, and beautiful experiences are drawn to a vessel that can hold them, a consciousness that is not riddled with the cracks of desperation and fear. They are a secondary effect, a shadow cast by the light of your own inner being. So, from this day forward, let your focus shift. When you feel the pang of lack, do not immediately look outside of yourself for something to fill it. Look within. Ask, which crack is leaking? What part of me needs the sealant of my own loving attention? Is it the fear of the future? Then apply the wealth of presence. Is it the shame of the past? Apply the wealth of forgiveness. Is it the anxiety of comparison? Apply the wealth of gratitude for your own unique journey. Become the diligent ruler of your inner kingdom. Build your inner state as your #1 priority. This is the redefinition of wealth. It is the foundation upon which an entirely new life can be built. But to truly become the master of this inner kingdom, to consciously build this state of being, you must first learn to speak its native tongue. It is not the language of logic, of numbers, or of effort. It is the subtle, powerful, and universal language that shapes the very fabric of your reality. What is this language? It is the language of energy, the language of frequency. It is the language of vibration, and your key to speaking it fluently lies within the one thing you possess at every single moment, the tool that is creating your world whether you are aware of it or not. Your feeling. We have redefined wealth as an inner kingdom, a state of being that must be cultivated before it can be reflected in the outer world. We stand now as the rightful rulers of this kingdom, but we are facing a challenge. To govern this realm, to consciously shape its landscape, we must learn its language. This is not a language of words or logic. It is the native tongue of the universe itself, a language that existed long before thought and will exist long after. It is the language of energy, of frequency, of vibration. And the secret to speaking it lies not in your mind, but in your heart. Your feeling is the secret. Let us begin by dismantling the greatest illusion your senses have ever created, the illusion of solidity. The chair you are sitting on, the walls of the room you are in, your very own body, they all feel solid, dense, and separate. But this is a trick of perception. For a century, quantum physics has been affirming what the ancient mystics have always known. At the fundamental level of reality, nothing is solid. Everything, absolutely everything, is energy, a swirling, dancing, vibrating field of infinite potential. You are not a solid body living in a solid world. You are a vibrational being living in a vibrational ocean. You are a transmitter and a receiver of frequency, and the life you experience is a direct match to the signal you are broadcasting. This may sound abstract, but you already understand it intuitively. You have walked into a room after an argument and felt the bad vibes, the tension that feels thick enough to cut with a knife. You have been in the presence of a calm, loving person and felt your own system relax, basking in their good energy. This is not imagination. It is a direct perception of vibrational reality. You are constantly sensing, interpreting, and broadcasting energy, whether you are aware of it or not. Now, we must make a critical distinction, one that is the source of immense confusion and frustration for those who have explored these ideas. The distinction is between your thoughts and your feelings. Many believe that if they simply think positive thoughts, their life will magically change. They repeat affirmations until they are blue in the face, yet they see little to no change in their reality. This is because a thought, on its own, has very little creative power. A thought is merely a blueprint, an intention. It is an architectural drawing of a house you would like to build. But a blueprint cannot build a house. You need an energy source. You need a construction crew. Your emotion, your feeling state, is that energy. It is the power that takes the blueprint of your thought and begins to assemble it in the quantum field. An affirmation repeated while you are feeling anxious, doubtful, or unworthy is a powerless command. It is like sending a construction crew a beautiful blueprint for a mansion, but giving them no fuel, no materials, and no motivation. They simply stand around, looking at the plans, unable to build. Conversely, a fleeting negative thought that you don't energize with strong emotion has little power to create. It is a discarded blueprint that blows away in the wind. The universe is not primarily responding to the catalogue of your thoughts. It is responding to the resonance of your being. It is responding to your song. Let us explore this with our guiding metaphor. Imagine that you are a magnificent, resonant musical instrument, perhaps a grand cello, capable of producing the deepest sorrows and the most sublime heights of joy. Your body and mind are the wooden body of this instrument, perfectly crafted. The sheet music placed on the stand in front of you represents your thoughts and intentions. You can choose, very deliberately, to place the sheet music for a composition titled Symphony of Abundance and Ease. The notes on the page are clear: harmony, grace, wealth, joy. But the ink on the page does not make the music. The music is made when the bow is drawn across the strings. That bow is your attention, and the sound that is produced, the actual vibration that fills the concert hall of the universe, is your emotional state. Now, look at the conflict. You are staring intently at the sheet music for Symphony of Abundance. You are reading the notes, your affirmations. I am wealthy. I am successful. But if your inner state is one of fear about an upcoming bill, if your body is tense with the memory of past failures, if your heart is heavy with a feeling of unworthiness, how are you holding the bow? You are gripping it with a white-knuckled fist of desperation. You are scraping it across the strings with the jerky, dissonant motion of doubt. What sound do you think the universe hears? Does it hear the pristine notes written on the page? Or does it hear the screeching, painful, out-of-tune noise that you are actually producing? It hears the noise. It hears the vibration of lack, the frequency of fear, the dissonance of doubt. And being a perfectly resonant universe, it harmonizes with what you are broadcasting. It does not judge it, it simply matches it. It brings you more circumstances, more experiences, more reasons to feel the very way you are already feeling. You play the song of scarcity, and the universe turns up the volume. The great work of your life, then, is not to stare harder at the sheet music. It is to learn how to hold the bow. It is to become a master musician of your own inner state. Your work is to learn how to generate the feeling of the wish fulfilled before it has manifested. You must learn to play the song of the reality you desire. You must close your eyes, ignore the current evidence of your senses, and find within yourself the feeling of relief, the feeling of gratitude, the feeling of peace, the feeling of security, the feeling of freedom. You must generate the symphony of abundance from within and play it so beautifully, so consistently, that your outer world has no choice but to rearrange itself to match your music. How do we begin to do this in a practical way? We can start by recognizing that our emotions exist on a vibrational scale. At the very bottom are the dense, heavy frequencies of shame, guilt, and fear. Moving up, we find anger, blame, and frustration. Further still, we find contentment, hopefulness, and optimism. And at the very top, we find the high, light, expansive frequencies of joy, love, gratitude, and freedom. Your goal is not to live at the top of the scale every single moment. That is unrealistic and would deny your human experience. The low-frequency emotions are valuable signals, drawing your attention to a thought or belief that is out of alignment with your true nature. The goal is to become emotionally fluent. It is to develop the ability to consciously move yourself up this scale, to not get stuck in the basement of fear and despair. You must become the master of your own vibration, rather than a victim of it. This begins with a simple, gentle practice, the pivot. When you become aware that you are feeling a low-frequency emotion anxiety, for example, the first step is not to resist it or judge yourself for feeling it. That is like tightening the cello string until it breaks. The first step is to simply acknowledge it with compassion. Ah, there is anxiety. I am playing the song of anxiety right now. Then gently, without force, reach for a slightly better feeling thought. You do not need to jump from anxiety to ecstatic joy. That gap is too wide. Just try to reach for a feeling of hope, or even just a feeling of neutrality. A thought like, I don't know how this will be solved, but I have solved problems before. Or, for this 1 minute, I will focus on my breath and let go of this problem. Or you can pivot to gratitude, the ultimate frequency shifter. I am anxious about money, but I am grateful for the roof over my head. I am grateful for the air I am breathing. I am grateful for this body that is carrying me through life. Each one of these thoughts gently loosens the tension on the string, raising the vibrational pitch, even if only slightly. With practice, you become adept at this, able to guide your own emotional state with the grace of a master cellist. This is the great secret. Your feeling state is your most powerful prayer. It is the magnetic, creative force that is constantly shaping the world you experience. Stop begging the universe with empty words. Instead, begin to sing it the song of the reality you wish to inhabit. Become a living, breathing embodiment of the frequency of your desire. But there is a challenge, isn't there? How can one possibly play a beautiful song, a symphony of abundance, when there is a constant, noisy critic in the mind, shouting that you are a terrible musician, that you are playing all the wrong notes, that you will never get it right? Before you can truly master your emotional instrument, you must first learn to quiet the heckler in the audience. You must learn to tame the anxious, chattering mind. This is our next step, to step back from the noise and become the silent observer. You are listening to the sound of a voice, but who is it that is listening? Within you, right now, there are two distinct entities. There is the voice, the incessant narrator of your life, and there is the presence that is aware of the voice. For your entire life, you have been taught to believe you are the narrator. The greatest spiritual awakening, the true beginning of freedom and power, is the realization that you are not the voice, you are the listener, you are the silence in which the voice appears. This inner narrator is the anxious mind, the egoic commentator, the inner roommate who never stops talking. It is a survival mechanism, a relic of an ancient past, hardwired to scan your environment for what is wrong, what is missing, and what might be a threat. It is the voice that resurrects past failures as evidence for future disasters. It is the source of the endless what-if scenarios that drain your life force. When you are completely fused with this voice, you are living in its reality, a reality of perpetual problems, of scarcity, and of low-level fear. When a thought of lack arises in this unobserved mind, you do not simply have a thought, you become lack. When a thought of worry appears, you become worry. There is no space, there is no freedom. You are a prisoner of your own commentary, and this state broadcasts a constant, chaotic vibration to the universe, making the sustained feeling of abundance an impossibility. Our task, then, is not to fight this mind. To fight it is to create a civil war, and all civil wars are unwinnable and devastating. The path to taming the anxious mind is not through struggle, but through a radical act of non-engagement. It is the path of becoming the silent observer. Imagine your constant stream of thoughts is a powerful, rushing river. For most of your life, you have been thrown into this river. You are flailing, struggling to keep your head above water, being tossed and turned by every current of thought and emotion. A jagged rocker, self-critical thought scrapes against you, and you feel the pain. A sudden, swift current wave of anxiety pulls you under, and you panic. You are so busy surviving the river that you have come to believe that this struggle is your life. You are the river, and the river is you. The practice of becoming the silent observer is the act of discovering for the first time that there is a bank. The practice is not to try and stop the river, an impossible and arrogant task, but to simply, for one moment, pull yourself out of the turbulent water and sit on the firm, solid ground of the riverbank. Take a seat there now, in your imagination. From this new vantage point, you can watch the river of your mind flow by. And what do you see? You see everything. A heavy, waterlogged log of an old resentment drifts past. You see it clearly, but it does not pull you in. Murky, brown water from a sad memory swirls by, coloring the river for a few moments before clearing again. You see leaves of everyday plans, shiny glints of happy thoughts, and dark, unsettling shapes from the riverbed of the subconscious. All of it, just flows past you. A thought arises, one that has tormented you for years. You're not smart enough to succeed. When you were in the river, that thought was a whirlpool that threatened to drown you. It felt like an absolute truth. But from the bank, you can look at it with a calm detachment. You see it for what it is, a piece of driftwood, a collection of words, an energetic pattern. You can observe it and say, "Ah, look at that. There is the not smart enough thought again." You don't argue with it. You don't believe it. You don't try to destroy it. You simply watch it, and because you are no longer fueling it with your identification, it loses its momentum and floats on by. This is the great, life-altering discovery. You are not the river, you are the bank. The bank is the container for the river. The bank is still, stable, and unmoved, regardless of whether the river is a raging flood or a gentle trickle. The turbulence of the water does not alter the fundamental nature of the bank. Your true self is this silent, spacious, unmovable awareness. The thoughts, emotions, and sensations are just the weather, the transient contents of the river, passing through the vast, open space of your consciousness. Let us try a small experiment, right here and now. Simply ask yourself, "I wonder what my next thought will be." And then wait. Wait and watch, like a cat watching a mouse hole. In that moment of waiting, of watching, who is it that is doing the watching? That silent, alert presence that is you. That is the observer. A thought will eventually pop up, but for a brief moment, you were the space, not the thought. You were on the bank. That is the freedom we are seeking. You can strengthen this muscle of awareness with a simple practice. As you go about your day, begin to mentally label the activity of your mind. When you notice a chain of thoughts has grabbed you, just gently label it in your mind, thinking. You don't need to specify what the thoughts are, just the simple recognition, thinking is happening. When you feel a wave of emotion, label it, feeling. You are not saying, "I am sad." You are creating a subtle but profound space by noting, "I am aware of a feeling of sadness within me." The identity shifts from the emotion to the one who is aware of the emotion. Do not expect perfection. The pull of the river is strong. It has been your home for a very long time. You will find yourself swept away again and again. You will be halfway down the river, caught in a current of worry, before you even realize you have left the bank. This is not a failure. The moment you realize, "I am in the river again," is a moment of victory. That realization is the silent observer waking up. In that moment, do not scold yourself. Just gently, compassionately, guide yourself back to the firm ground of the bank. Each time you do this, the muscle gets stronger. The path back to the bank becomes more familiar. The space between you and the river of thought begins to widen. This space is everything. It is the silence between the notes that makes the music beautiful. It is the stillness from which all powerful, inspired action arises. When you are resting on the bank, you are no longer broadcasting the chaotic, needy, fearful vibrations of the river. You are broadcasting the calm, stable, and whole vibration of the bank. You become a point of stillness in a spinning world. Your energetic signature changes from desperation to presence. And in this presence, in this sacred gap between you and your mind, something new becomes possible. When the river of compulsive thought no longer floods the soil of your consciousness every single day, that soil becomes fertile again. It becomes receptive. And for the first time, perhaps in your entire life, you can begin to consciously choose which seeds you wish to plant in this newfound space. But planting a seed is only the beginning of the creation process. You must also learn the gentle, open-handed posture that allows the seed to germinate and grow without being crushed by anxious hands. You must learn the forgotten art of allowing. You must learn the art of receiving. Resting now on the quiet bank of the river, you have discovered a space within yourself, a silent, watchful presence that is untouched by the turbulent flow of your anxious mind. In this stillness, the soil of your consciousness, no longer being constantly flooded by compulsive thought, has become fertile once more. A new potential arises. You can now consciously choose what you wish to grow. Yet, the act of planting a seed is only the first part of creation. A gardener who plants a seed and then anxiously digs it up every day to check on its progress will only ever have a hole in the ground. To cultivate a new reality, you must learn the second, and perhaps more challenging, part of the creative process. You must learn the gentle, open-handed, and profoundly vulnerable art of receiving. The universe operates on a sacred rhythm of giving and receiving, of exhalation and inhalation. Yet our culture has profoundly imbalanced this equation. We are taught that it is noble to give, but weak or selfish to receive. We have been conditioned to be tireless exhalers, constantly pushing out our energy, our effort, our help, without ever allowing ourselves to fully, deeply, and gratefully inhale. We are like spiritual marathon runners who believe it is a virtue to never stop for water. The result is not nobility, it is exhaustion, burnout, and a deep, hidden resentment. Your feeling of lack may have very little to do with your capacity to give or to earn, and everything to do with a deeply programmed resistance to simply receiving the good that is trying to reach you. Let us diagnose this condition, for it is subtle and pervasive. How does this resistance show up in your life? It begins with the small things. Someone offers you a genuine compliment. "That was a brilliant idea." Or, "You look wonderful today." What is your immediate, automatic response? Do you deflect it? "Oh, it was nothing, anyone could have done it." Do you diminish it? "This old thing, I've had it for years." In that moment, a gift of golden energy was offered to you, and you threw it back. You refused to let it land. Now, consider when someone offers you help. You are struggling with a heavy bag, or wrestling with a difficult problem. A kind soul offers their assistance. What is your reflex? No, I'm fine, I've got it. The ego, disguised as strength and self-reliance, refuses the gift of support. It believes its value is measured by its solitary struggle. Observe yourself when you are the recipient of a larger gift or an act of profound kindness. Do you feel a sense of ease and gratitude, or does a quiet unease begin to stir? Do you immediately begin calculating how you can repay the person, how you can even the score? If so, you have unconsciously converted a gift into a transaction. You have stripped it of its grace and turned it into a debt. All of these reflects the deflection of praise, the refusal of help, the transactional response to kindness are symptoms of the same core wound, the feeling of unworthiness. Deep down, a part of you does not believe you deserve to receive anything without first paying for it through struggle, sacrifice, or effort. To receive a pure gift feels like a mistake, like you are a fraud who is about to be found out. It touches the raw nerve of your perceived inadequacy, and so you push it away to avoid the discomfort of that vulnerability. Let us now anchor this understanding in a powerful metaphor. Imagine that the universe, in its infinite and unconditional generosity, is in a state of perpetual offering. It is constantly showering down a rain of liquid gold upon you. This is not just money. It is a rain of opportunities, of brilliant ideas, of loving encounters, of moments of breathtaking beauty, of spontaneous synchronicities. A warm, shimmering, life-giving downpour of abundance is available to you in every single moment. Now, picture yourself standing in the middle of this glorious golden shower. But what is your posture? You are holding up a large, sturdy black umbrella. You are praying for wealth while actively shielding yourself from it. You are complaining about being dry while standing in the heart of a deluge. Let us look at the construction of this umbrella, for it is your own creation. The primary waterproof fabric of the umbrella is woven from the belief, I am not worthy. This is the core belief that makes receiving feel dangerous. The rigid metal spokes that give the umbrella its unyielding structure are made of guilt and shame. The belief that others need it more, or that it is selfish to want things for myself. And the handle, which you grip with a white-knuckled fist, is forged from the hard metal of pride and a misguided sense of self-reliance. It is the ego's fierce declaration, I must do it all myself. To receive help is to admit weakness. Do you see the profound tragedy of this? The universe is not withholding from you. The universe is in a constant state of yes. It is you who are saying no. You are deflecting the very blessings you are asking for. The work, then, is not to make it rain harder. The work is not to chase the droplets. The sacred, transformative work is simply to have the courage to lower your umbrella. This is not an act of doing. It is an act of undoing. It is a surrender. It is a conscious choice to become vulnerable to the generosity of life. It is the willingness to be drenched. How do we practice this? How do we begin to fold this heavy umbrella we have carried for so long? We start small. We create new neural pathways through conscious practice. The next time someone pays you a compliment, see it as your spiritual practice for the day. Pause. Take a breath. Resist the urge to deflect. Look them in the eye, allow the warmth of their words to actually enter your energy field, and simply say, "Thank you, I receive that." Feel the difference. You are not taking anything, you are completing a circuit of grace. The next time you witness something beautiful, the intricate pattern on a leaf, the sound of birdsong, the taste of a perfect cup of coffee dough, not rush past it. Stop. For 10 seconds, consciously receive the gift of that moment's beauty. Let it nourish you. You are lowering the umbrella to the small golden droplets that are always falling. When an opportunity or an idea appears, notice if your mind's first move is to list all the reasons it is impossible. That is the umbrella snapping open. Your practice is to catch yourself and introduce a new thought. I am open. I am willing to receive this. I am curious to see where this leads. You are creating a conscious opening, a tear in the fabric of your resistance. To receive gracefully is also a profound gift to the giver. When you refuse a gift, you are damming the flow of generosity in the world. You are denying the other person the joy of giving. When you receive with an open heart and genuine gratitude, you honor their offering and become a conduit, allowing that generous energy to flow through you and back out into the world. You move from being a dead end to being part of the divine current. This is the shift in posture required for a life of abundance. It is the movement from the clenched fist of striving and controlling to the open palm of allowing and receiving. It is a posture of profound trust, of deep humility, and of immense power. But to stand in that golden rain without your umbrella, to hold your palms open to the sky, requires a monumental quality. It requires you to release your desperate need to understand and manage every outcome, to predict the trajectory of every droplet. It demands that you let go of the illusion that you are the one in charge. It requires you to trust the wisdom of the rain. It requires you to trust the universal flow. You have learned to sit on the bank of the river, to observe your thoughts without being swept away. You have learned to lower the umbrella of resistance, to stand with open hands, willing to receive the golden rain of the universe. This posture of openness, of vulnerability, is the beginning of grace. But it requires a quality that our modern world has almost completely forgotten. It requires you to let go of the one thing your ego holds most dear, the illusion of control. The desperate need to control every outcome, to manage every variable, to map out every step from here to your desired destination, is born from one place and one place only: fear. It is the ego's frantic attempt to create certainty in an uncertain universe. It believes, with every fiber of its being, that if it can just think hard enough, plan meticulously enough, and worry effectively enough, it can prevent all pain, avoid all failure, and guarantee a specific result. This is the single most exhausting and futile activity a human being can engage in. It is the very definition of a spiritual sickness. You do not control the beating of your own heart. You do not control the thoughts of the person next to you. You do not control the shifting clouds or the global economy. To believe you can orchestrate the infinite complexity of life to suit your limited vision is to live in a state of constant, grinding warfare with reality itself. The alternative is surrender. We must pause here, because this word has been deeply misunderstood. In the language of the ego, to surrender is to give up, to lose, to be defeated. But in the language of the soul, to surrender is the ultimate act of wisdom and strength. It is not a passive resignation to a grim fate. It is an active and conscious alignment with a creative intelligence far vaster, far wiser, and far more powerful than your personal mind. It is the choice to stop swimming frantically against the current and to instead trust the wisdom of the river to carry you home. The energy of control is contracted. It is a clenched fist, a tight jaw, a shallow breath. When you are in a state of control, you are sending a clear, unambiguous signal to the universe. I do not trust you. I believe I am alone in this. I believe that reality is hostile and that I must force it to bend to my will. The universe, being the perfect mirror that it is, reflects this belief back to you. Life becomes a struggle. Obstacles appear at every turn. You feel you must work incredibly hard for every small gain, because you are trying to muscle your way through a system that is designed to operate on grace. You are trying to pry open a door that is designed to swing open on its own with the lightest touch. Let us find our way into this new state of being through the timeless wisdom of the farmer. The master farmer understands the profound partnership between human effort and universal law, between doing and allowing, between control and trust. The farmer's work, the part he can and must control, is clear. First, he chooses his seed with absolute clarity. This is the power of your intention. The farmer does not scatter a random assortment of seeds and hope for the best. He decides, this field will be for corn. He is clear and specific in his desire. He does not plant a corn seed and then worry that he should have planted a tomato seed. He commits to his vision. Next, he meticulously prepares the soil. This is the inner work we have been discussing. He removes the rocks and weeds of his own limiting beliefs. He enriches the soil with the compost of his self-acceptance and forgiveness. He ensures the ground of his consciousness is fertile and receptive. Then, he plants the seed. This is the initial act. It is the first step, the commitment made real. And after planting, he tends to the nascent life. He waters it with his faith and positive expectation. He diligently pulls out the new weeds of doubt or fear that try to sprout around it. He protects it from the pests of negative influence and cynical opinions. This is his sacred responsibility. And then, he lets go. This is the farmer's greatest wisdom. his act of profound surrender. He knows where his job ends and where the job of the universe begins. He cannot stand over the seed and command it to germinate. He cannot pull on the tiny green sprout to make it grow faster. To do so would kill it. He does not spend his nights sleepless with worry, wondering how exactly the miracle of photosynthesis will work or how the cells will divide. He doesn't dig up the seed every morning to make sure it's still there. He trusts. He trusts in the invisible, intelligent laws of nature. He trusts in the life force coded within the seed. He trusts in the sun and the rain and the rhythm of the seasons. He has done his part with diligence and love. And now he surrenders the outcome, the how and the when, to a power that is infinitely greater than himself. His work is effort. His power is trust. This is the model for your life. You must become the farmer of your own reality. Choose your seed. Set a clear, heartfelt intention for what you wish to create. Prepare the soil. Do the inner work of clearing your unworthiness and taming your anxious mind. Plant your seed. Take the initial, grounded, inspired action. And then your primary work becomes that of the master farmer. Tend to your field by maintaining your faith and let go of the outcome. Trust the universal flow. Your desperate need to know how it will manifest is you, digging up the seed. Every time you obsess over the details, you are pulling on the sprout. You are interrupting the natural, miraculous process of growth. Let me be clear. This surrender is not apathy. Apathy is hopelessness. It is the passive resignation of someone who has given up. Surrender is an active and vibrant trust. It is the alert, peaceful state of a person who knows they have entered into a partnership with the cosmos. It is the deep knowing that once you have set the energetic cause in motion, the universal effect is guaranteed, even if the form it takes is a surprise. In fact, the controlling mind, with its limited perspective, can often be the greatest obstacle to your good. It might decide there is only one possible path to your desired outcome, say, getting a specific job. It fixates on this one path with rigid determination. In doing so, it becomes blind to the 10 other, more miraculous and joyful paths the universe is trying to open up for you. Perhaps the universe wants to bring you the abundance you desire through a brilliant business idea, or an unexpected inheritance, or a creative project you haven't even thought of yet. A surrendered mind, an open and trusting mind, is watchful. It stays alert to these surprising opportunities. It is available for miracles. A controlling mind is available only for its own limited, pre-approved plan. Your role in this divine partnership is to be the visionary and the vibrational manager. Your job is to hold the vision of your desire and to manage your inner state, your farm, so that you are a vibrational match for that vision. The universe's role is to be the master strategist and project manager. Its job is to arrange the circumstances, to orchestrate the synchronicities, to manage the infinite details of the how and the when. Stop trying to do the universe's job. You are not qualified, and the stress of it is draining all of your creative power. But this new understanding naturally brings a crucial question to the surface. If I am to let go of control and trust the flow, does this mean I do nothing? How do I know when I should act and when I should simply be still and trust? This is the razor's edge of spiritual maturity, and the answer lies in learning to distinguish between two vastly different kinds of action, two different rhythms in the dance of creation. There is the frantic, fear-fueled, and often counterproductive action that is born from a controlling ego. This is desperate hustle. And then there is the calm, powerful, effective, and often effortless action that arises from a state of surrendered trust. This is inspired action. Learning to tell the difference is everything. You have learned to let go of the brittle illusion of control, to place your trust in a universal flow that is infinitely wiser than your anxious mind. This surrender brings a profound peace, but it also brings a vital question to the forefront of your awareness. If I am no longer forcing, pushing, and controlling, then how do I participate in my own life? Does surrender mean passivity? The answer is no. Surrender is not the end of action. It is the beginning of a new kind of action. Here, we must learn to distinguish between two profoundly different energies that motivate what we do. We must learn the difference between desperate hustle and inspired action. One is the path of the ego, The other is the path of the soul. One is a battle against the universe, the other is a dance with it. And learning to discern which energy is moving you is the key to creating with power instead of force. Let us first dissect desperate hustle. You know this energy intimately. It is the default setting of the modern world. Desperate hustle is born from the cold, hard soil of the scarcity mindset. It is fueled by the core belief, there is not enough, and I must struggle to get my share. It is the voice of fear whispering in your ear, if I don't make this happen, it will never happen. This energy feels tight, anxious, and frantic. It is the feeling of pushing a massive boulder up a steep hill. It is the churning in your stomach, the tension in your shoulders, the shallow, hurried breath. It is the energy that leads you to send 20 emails when one would have sufficed, to constantly check your phone for a reply, to fill every waking moment with frantic productivity because you are terrified of the silence and what it might mean. Desperate hustle is action divorced from wisdom. It is movement without presence. It results in burnout, exhaustion, and a deep simmering resentment that your monumental efforts are yielding such meager results. And why? Because the energy of desperate hustle is a vibrational contradiction. You are taking action to acquire wealth and peace from a state of internal poverty and chaos. You are shouting at the universe, I am lacking, I am desperate. And the universe, in its perfect impersonal logic, responds by giving you more experiences that make you feel lacking and desperate. The hustle itself creates more resistance. It is like trying to untangle a delicate necklace with frantic, clumsy fingers. You only create more knots. Now, let us turn to the alternative. Inspired action. Inspired action arises from a completely different source. It is born from the fertile ground of trust, stillness, and connection. It is the whisper of your intuition, not the scream of your fear. It is the natural, logical next step that appears in your quiet mind after you have surrendered the outcome. Inspired action feels different. It feels calm, clear, and resonant. It can be powerful and swift, but it is not frantic. There is an unmistakable quality of ease and flow to it, as if you are swimming with a powerful current rather than against it. It feels less like pushing a boulder and more like stepping onto a moving walkway that was already heading in your direction. To truly grasp this difference, let us use the metaphor of a predator in the wild. First, imagine a young, panicked wolf. It is starving, and its fear has taken over. It runs chaotically through the forest, chasing every rustle in the leaves, wasting enormous amounts of precious energy. It makes a great deal of noise, alerting all potential prey for miles around. Its movements are inefficient, its focus is scattered, and its actions broadcast a powerful energy of desperation that repels the very sustenance it seeks. This is the energy of desperate hustle. Now, imagine a master predator, a mature leopard resting on a high branch of a tree. It is not agitated, it is not frantic, it is a portrait of profound stillness and contained power. It conserves its energy, its gaze sweeping across the savanna below with a calm, patient alertness. It is completely one with its environment. It is watching the natural rhythms of life unfold. It trusts the environment to present an opportunity. It waits. This waiting is not passive, it is an active, potent state of readiness. Then, when the perfect moment arrives, the right prey, at the right time, in the right position, the leopard acts. The movement is an explosion of focused energy. It is swift, precise, economical, and devastatingly effective. There is no wasted motion. The action flows directly from a state of deep, centered stillness. This is inspired action. Your spiritual work is to stop being the frantic wolf and to start becoming the patient leopard. Your practice is to cultivate that high branch of stillness through the methods we have already explored. Becoming the silent observer, resting on the bank of the river of your mind. From this place of elevated perspective and quiet confidence, you stop chasing every fleeting possibility and instead learn to recognize the true, high-value opportunities when they appear. So how do you recognize the whisper of an inspired action in your own life? It has several distinct qualities. First, it feels clear. It often appears as a simple, quiet thought. Call that person, or go to that place. or write down that idea. It does not come with a storm of anxiety. Second, it often feels easy or natural. You may find that when you follow the impulse, things just seem to fall into place. The person you were meant to call was just thinking of you. The book you needed falls off a shelf. You experience a sense of synchronicity and flow. Third, an inspired action does not demand a specific outcome. You take the step because it feels intrinsically right, trusting that it is part of the larger unfolding, regardless of where it leads. The action itself is its own reward. To cultivate this, you must change the question you ask yourself. When you are in a state of fear and lack, the question is always, what should I do? What should I do? It is a question born of panic. The new practice is to first do nothing. Do not act from a state of fear. Your first action is always to return to a state of inner stillness and trust. Meditate. Take a walk in nature. Listen to calming music. Return to the high branch of the leopard. Then, from that place of calm, ask a different question. You might ask, what is the next, most loving step for me to take? Or you can simply hold the intention of your desire in your heart and say to the universe, show me. Then you wait and you listen. You watch for the impulse that feels like the leopard's pounce, clear, calm, and powerful, not the one that feels like the wolf's frantic scramble. The goal is to shift your entire orientation to life, from one of force to one of power, to do less, but have it mean more, to align your actions with the graceful and intelligent unfolding of the universal flow, rather than trying to impose your will upon it. Become the patient leopard, resting in your inherent power, trusting the vast savanna of life to provide. You will be amazed at what appears when you finally stop scaring it away. This state of patient, powerful alertness, this ability to recognize the whisper of inspired action amidst the clamor of fear, is not something that happens by accident. It is a state of being that is cultivated. It is nurtured and amplified by one of the most potent spiritual technologies available to humankind. It is the practice that turns your energy field from a cracked, dry desert into a lush, magnetic garden that draws opportunities to you. It is the practice that attunes your entire being to the frequency of already having. It is the profound alchemy of appreciation. It is the practice of gratitude. We have learned to distinguish the frantic energy of hustle from the calm power of inspired action. We have committed to becoming the patient leopard on the high branch, waiting for the clear, resonant impulse to move. But what is it that nurtures this state of patient power? What is the practice that turns our very being into a magnet for the opportunities we wish to receive? We now arrive at the heart of conscious creation, the master key that unlocks every door. It is the profound spiritual alchemy of gratitude. We must begin by liberating the concept of gratitude from the small box in which it has been kept. Gratitude is not merely a polite thank you. It is not a social pleasantry or a moral duty. It is a state of being. It is an active, creative force. It is the fundamental frequency of abundance. Most people believe that gratitude is the response to receiving something good. This is the logic of the unawakened world. The truth, which has been known to mystics and masters for ages, is the reverse. Gratitude is the cause of receiving something good. It is the prayer that is always answered. To understand this, we must return to the language of vibration. When your mind is focused on what you lack, not enough money, not enough time, not enough love, you are in a state of complaint. The feeling this generates is one of poverty, of scarcity. You are, in that moment, playing the low, heavy, dissonant song of not enough. The universe, in its unwavering reflection of your energy, can only bring you more evidence of not enough. You are praying for lack, and your prayer is being answered with perfect precision. Gratitude is the conscious, deliberate act of reversing this process. It is the discipline of withdrawing your attention from what is missing and placing it, with loving focus, on what is present. It is the choice to find evidence of your existing abundance, no matter how small it may seem. When you find something to be genuinely grateful for, the feeling this generates is one of fullness, of richness, of being provided for. In that moment, you are playing the high, harmonious, beautiful song of I am already whole, I am already blessed, and the universe, Hearing this new and beautiful song rushes to bring you more experiences, more circumstances, and more things that match the frequency of your music. You have changed your vibrational point of attraction. Let us make this real with a metaphor. Imagine an area of your life, perhaps your finances, is a plant in a pot. For a long time you have neglected this plant. You have fed it with thoughts of worry and watered it with tears of fear. Now, the plant is withered. The soil is dry and cracked. Its leaves are brown and brittle. Looking at this sad plant, your first instinct is to focus on its sickness. You lament the brown leaves. You curse the dry soil. You are focused on the problem, and your focus only amplifies the energy of decay. But gratitude is a different kind of seeing. Gratitude scans this same withered plant, and it searches, with the loving eyes of a patient gardener, for a single sign of life. And it finds one. Near the bottom, hidden from a casual glance, there is one small green leaf still clinging to life. Just one. The practice of gratitude is to withdraw all of your attention from the 99 dead leaves and to pour your entire being into this one living leaf. You do not just glance at it, you appreciate it. You might even whisper to it, "Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your resilience. Thank you for showing me that life is still present." As you focus on this one small point of existing good, a genuine feeling of warmth and appreciation begins to swell in your heart. What is this feeling? It is spiritual water. It is living nourishment. As you pour this water of genuine gratitude onto the dry soil, something miraculous happens. The dormant life force in the roots begins to stir. The sap, which had been stagnant, begins to flow again. The plant, sensing this influx of loving, appreciative energy, directs it toward healing and growth. A day later, you may notice the green of that one leaf is a little brighter. A week later, you may see the tiniest new bud beginning to form at its base. By continuing to water the plant, not with what you wish it was, but with gratitude for what it is, you nourish it back to full, vibrant, flourishing health. Soon the pot is overflowing with lush green leaves and beautiful blossoms. This is the alchemy of appreciation. That one green leaf is the roof over your head, even if it is rented. It is the food in your refrigerator, even if it is simple. It is the friend who listened to your troubles. It is the stranger who smiled at you. It is the simple, unbelievable gift of your own breath, flowing in and out, sustaining you without any effort. Stop cursing the brown leaves of your debt, your loneliness, or your frustration. Find your one green leaf right now and pour all of your love and attention onto it. Water it with your sincere gratitude. This is not wishful thinking. This is the deepest form of creative action. Let us turn this into a practice you can use immediately. It is called a rampage of appreciation. You start with something simple and build momentum. Find a comfortable position and begin. I am so grateful for this chair I am sitting in. It is supporting my body completely. I am so grateful for my body, this incredible vehicle that allows me to experience this world. I am grateful for my eyes that can see beauty. I am grateful for my ears that can hear music. Keep going. Let one thought of gratitude lead to another. I am grateful for the technology that allows me to hear these words. I am grateful for the people who created it. I am grateful for the electricity that powers it. Do not just say the words. Try to feel the reality of the gift behind each one. As you continue, you will feel a palpable shift in your energy. The heavy cloak of lack begins to dissolve, replaced by a warm, expansive feeling in your chest. You are literally, physically, changing your vibration. For a more advanced practice, you can begin to apply gratitude to the things you have previously labeled as bad. Can you be grateful for the bill in the mail? Not for the debt, but for the fact that it represents a service you received, electricity that lit your home, water that nourished you. This practice neutralizes the negative charge. Can you be grateful for a past failure? Not for the pain, but for the resilience it taught you, for the wisdom it gave you. This is how you transform the lead of your past into the gold of your present. Gratitude is the ultimate state of receiving. It is the posture of a soul that knows it is cared for. It is not a passive reflection on your past blessings. It is an active participation in your future creations. It is the master key that unlocks the floodgates of universal abundance, the language the universe adores, and the prayer it always answers with a resounding and generous yes. And here is more. To feel this gratitude fully and deeply, however, requires a heart that is not weighed down by the heavy, sharp stones of past pain. For many of us, the very subjects of money, wealth, and success are so deeply entangled with old wounds, family trauma, and personal guilt that trying to feel grateful can seem impossible, like trying to sing with a throat full of dust. What do we do when the past refuses to let go of our ankle? How can we feel abundance when our very cells are vibrating with a painful money wound? Before we can truly move forward into the light, we must be willing to turn back for a moment to gently and lovingly heal the original source of the infection. We must learn to forgive our financial past. We stand now in the radiant, resonant field of gratitude. We have learned that it is not a passive virtue, but an active, creative force. Yet, for so many of us, as we try to feel this profound appreciation, we encounter a wall, a thick, invisible barrier of old pain. We try to feel grateful for the money we have, but our hearts are immediately constricted by the memory of debt, of struggle, of shame. We try to feel abundant, but our bodies are still vibrating with a deep and painful money wound. This is a crucial moment in our journey. We cannot bypass this pain. We cannot build a mansion of new beliefs on top of a toxic, unhealed foundation. Before we can truly create our future, we must have the courage and compassion to make peace with our past. What is a money wound? It is the sum total of every negative emotion, every limiting belief, and every traumatic memory you have accumulated around the subject of finance, wealth, and survival. It is the ghost of your parents' arguments about bills late at night. It is the sting of shame you felt as a child when you couldn't afford what your friends had. It is the visceral fear of the day you lost your job, the gnawing anxiety of looking at your bank account, the heavy cloak of guilt from a failed business or a poor investment. This wound is not just an idea, it lives in your body. It is the tightness in your chest when you think about retirement, the knot in your stomach when an unexpected expense arises. This wound is real, and until it is cleansed, it will silently and relentlessly sabotage your every effort to create a life of ease and abundance. It acts as a powerful, energetic repellent, pushing away the very wealth you seek. To heal this wound, we must first understand its nature. The most powerful way to do this is to stop thinking of money as an inanimate object or an abstract concept, and to instead imagine it as a living, conscious energy. Imagine for a moment that money is a person. Now, with radical honesty, look at your relationship with this person. How do you speak to this person in the privacy of your own mind? Do you tell it that it is the root of all evil, that it is dirty, that it corrupts people? Do you blame it for your stress and your unhappiness? How do you feel when this person is around? Do you feel anxious, mistrustful, terrified that it will leave you at any moment? And how do you act when it is not around? Do you become desperate, needy, willing to do things that are out of alignment with your soul just to get its attention? When it does show up, do you clutch it with such fear that you suffocate it, or do you feel so guilty and unworthy of its presence that you immediately push it away? Now, ask yourself this question with profound sincerity. If you were a person being treated this way, constantly criticized, feared, blamed, and mistrusted, would you want to be in that relationship? Would you want to come closer, to bring your gifts, to support and nurture the one who held you in such contempt? Of course not. You would keep your distance. You would sense the hostility and the desperation, and you would stay away. Money, as an energy, does the same. It flows easily to those who have a healthy, welcoming, and respectful relationship with it. It avoids those who are vibrationally hostile to it. The good news is that, like any broken relationship, this one can be healed. And the first, most essential step in all true healing is forgiveness. This is not a superficial act. This is a deep, energetic cleansing. It is a process of consciously releasing the toxic charges of the past so that you can be present to the possibilities of now. This forgiveness has 3 parts, and each is essential. The first part is forgiving others. You must forgive every person and every institution that you believe has wronged you financially. Forgive your parents for teaching you their own fears and limitations around money. They were doing the best they could with the programming they received. Forgive the ex-partner whose irresponsibility put you in debt. Forgive the boss who underpaid you, the client who didn't pay on time, the system you feel is rigged against you. This act of forgiveness is not for them. You are not condoning their actions or letting them off the hook. This is for you. Resentment is a poison you drink, hoping the other person will die. Forgiveness is the act of taking the antidote. It is you, consciously snipping the energetic cord that has kept you tied to that painful past, allowing your own life force to flow back to you instead of leaking into old wounds. You can do this simply, in a quiet moment. Picture the person or situation and say aloud or in your heart, "I see the pain that was caused. I am no longer willing to carry it. I forgive you and I release you. You are free and I am free." The second part, which may seem unusual, is to forgive money itself. Forgive the energy of money for its role in the painful events of your life. Forgive it for not being there when you felt you desperately needed it. Forgive it for being the source of conflict and stress. This is a powerful act of depersonalization. It is you, recognizing that you have projected your own fears and the world's pain onto a neutral energy. You can say, "I forgive the energy of money for all the negative associations I have attached to it. I release the blame. I am willing to see it in a new light." This act begins to transform your perception of money from an antagonist to a neutral and potentially benevolent force. The third and most crucial part is to forgive yourself. This is where the deepest healing occurs. You must forgive yourself for every financial mistake you have ever made, big or small. Forgive yourself for the opportunities you missed out of fear. Forgive yourself for the times you were irresponsible, for the debt you accumulated, for the investments that went wrong. Forgive yourself for not knowing then what you know now. Shame is the heaviest, densest, and most toxic of all energetic burdens. It is an anchor that keeps your vibrational ship moored in the muddy harbor of scarcity. To release it is to become light enough to sail into new waters. This requires a radical dose of self-compassion. Place your hand on your heart and speak to the younger version of you who made those mistakes. Say to them, "I forgive you. You did the best you could with the knowledge, the awareness, and the emotional resources you had at the time. You were operating from a place of fear or pain. You were not bad, you were wounded. I release you from this judgment. I release this burden of shame now and forever. I forgive myself completely and without reservation." Breathe deeply, and as you exhale, imagine a heavy, dark cloak of shame lifting from your shoulders, dissolving into the light. Do this as many times as you need to. Cry if you need to. The tears are the poison leaving your system. This comprehensive act of forgiveness of others, of money, and of yourself is the most profound financial transaction you will ever make. It is an energetic clearing of your inner accounts. It purges the toxic assets of resentment and shame from your soul's balance sheet. It creates a clean, empty, and sacred space within you. It is the act that finally mends your broken relationship with the energy of abundance, transforming it from one based on fear and hostility to one of peace, respect, and potential partnership. Now, with this clean and fertile space created within you, a new question arises. What will you plant here? The thorny weeds of the old stories have been uprooted and cleared away. The soil of your consciousness is now receptive to a new seed. It is time to stop reliving the painful script of the past and to begin consciously authoring the prosperous narrative of your future. And the most powerful tools for this sacred act of creation are the very words you choose to think and speak. You are about to learn the divine creative magic held within the two most powerful words in existence. I am. You have walked through the healing fires of forgiveness. You have cleansed the wounds of the past and released the heavy burdens of shame and resentment. In their place, there is now a clean and quiet space within you, a fertile void, a sacred emptiness, ready to be filled. The great question now is, what will you plant in this pristine inner ground? For lifetimes, this field has been sown unconsciously with the seeds of your inherited limitations and painful experiences. Now, you will become the conscious gardener of your reality. And your most powerful seeds, the very seeds of creation itself, are contained within two simple words: I am. These are not just words, they are a divine declaration. They are the primary name of God, of Source, of the universal consciousness. When you say I am, you are invoking the creative power of all that is and attaching it to whatever follows. The universe does not argue with your statement of being. It is a loyal and impersonal mirror that simply reflects back to you the truth you have declared about yourself. For better or for worse, what you claim to be, you become. This is a law as immutable as gravity. The tragedy is that, for most of your life, you have been using this divine power of declaration against yourself, unconsciously forging the very chains you wish to break. Consider the casual curses you cast upon yourself every single day. When you look at your bills and mutter, "I am so broke," that is not a passive observation. It is a powerful affirmation. It is a command you are giving to your subconscious mind and to the universe to create more experiences, more circumstances that align with the state of being broke. When you make a mistake and say, "I am so stupid," or "I am terrible with money," you are speaking a potent spell into existence. Your subconscious mind, a loyal and unquestioning servant, hears its master's voice and says, "Yes, you are." It then works tirelessly to filter your reality through that lens, causing you to overlook opportunities, to make clumsy errors, and to reinforce the identity you have claimed. Think of it this way: your subconscious mind is the fertile soil of the garden. Your conscious "I am" statements are the seeds you plant within it. For years, you have been unconsciously scattering seeds of thorns and weeds. You plant the seed of "I am a failure," and you are shocked when your life is filled with the painful spikes of disappointment. You plant the seed of "I am unworthy," and you wonder why the warm sun of abundance seems blocked, unable to reach you. You plant the seed of "Life is a struggle," and you find your journey to be a constant, exhausting, uphill battle. You cannot plant a thorn seed and expect to harvest grapes. You cannot sow a belief in your own scarcity and expect to reap a harvest of wealth. The universe is not punishing you. It is simply obeying the law of the harvest, a law you yourself have set into motion with your own declarations of being. The Great Awakening is the realization that you are the gardener. You have the power and the responsibility to choose which seeds you plant from this moment forward. You must stop unconsciously sowing the seeds of your old, painful identity and begin, with deliberate and sacred intention, to plant the seeds of the reality you wish to inhabit. This is the practice of conscious scripting. You are rewriting the autobiography of your soul, not with what has been, but with what you now choose to be. This starts by auditing your own unconscious declarations. For one day, listen to yourself as a neutral observer. What follows the words "I am" in your silent self-talk and your spoken words? Are you saying, "I am tired, I am stressed, I am overwhelmed"? Become aware of the old, negative seeds you are habitually planting. Awareness is the first step to change. The next step is conscious replacement. You must now actively and deliberately plant the new seeds. This requires you to claim a new name, a new identity, even before you see the external evidence of it. This is an act of supreme faith. Instead of "I am broke," you draw a line in the soil of your mind and plant the new seed, "I am wealth." Instead of "I am struggling," you plant the seed, "I am flowing with ease and grace." Instead of "I am sick," you plant the seed, "I am vibrant health and wholeness." Let these new names become your mantra, your prayer, your core reality. Write them down. Say them aloud when you first wake up, while the veil between the conscious and subconscious mind is thin. Speak them to your reflection in the mirror, looking deep into your own eyes, claiming your new truth. I am abundance. I am financial freedom. I am unlimited creative energy. I am a magnet for miracles. I am peace. Feel the resonance of these words. They are not just positive thoughts. They are vibrational realities you are choosing to embody. You are planting an entirely new garden. At first, this may feel like a lie. The ego, your old narrator, will rebel. It will point to your bank account and scream, "You are not wealthy. Look at this evidence." It will point to your past and shout, "You are not successful. Remember that failure." It is crucial to understand the ego's role here. It is the guardian of your old identity. Your new declarations are a threat to its existence. Your job is not to argue with the ego, but to gently and persistently bypass it. When it presents evidence from your past reality, you can simply acknowledge it and say, "Thank you for sharing. That was the old story." The new story is, "I am wealth." You are like a gardener who, upon finding an old weed, does not despair, but simply removes it and plants a new flower in its place. By persistently claiming your new I am identity, you are giving your loyal subconscious mind a new set of instructions, a new blueprint to work with. It will begin to filter your reality differently. It will start to notice opportunities it previously ignored. It will guide you toward ideas and actions that are in alignment with being wealthy, with being healthy, with being peace. You are fundamentally reprogramming the operating system of your personal reality. Your words are the code. Your I am is the command prompt. This is the great shift from being a creature of circumstance to a creator of your world. It is the reclaiming of your divine authority to name yourself, and in naming yourself, to name your reality. You are the author. The pen is in your hand, and the ink is the sacred declaration of I am. But a potential conflict still remains. How do you bridge the gap between the powerful words you declare and the current facts of your life? How do you make the seed of I am wealth feel true when the old weeds of lack are still visible? Saying the words is the act of planting the seed. To make it grow, you must water it with the most potent force in the universe, the energy of belief. You must learn to generate the feeling of your new reality, to live in the emotional state of your wish already fulfilled. You must master the profound and magical art of living in the end. You have cleared the garden of your mind through forgiveness and planted the sacred seeds of your new identity with the power of I am. You have declared, "I am wealth, I am abundance." Yet, a part of your logical mind, the faithful servant of your past experiences, may still be in rebellion. It looks at the evidence of your senses and protests. This is not true. You are lying to yourself. This inner conflict, this gap between your powerful declaration and your current reality, is the final barrier we must dissolve. We do this by mastering the most profound and magical of all creative secrets. We learn to live, not in hope or in want, but from the state of the wish already fulfilled. This is the master key taught by the great mystic Neville Goddard. The principle is this: creation is finished. Every potential reality already exists as a possibility in the quantum field. Your work is not to create a new reality from scratch, but to select the reality you desire and to occupy it vibrationally until it hardens into fact. You do this by assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled. You do not try to acquire the feeling. You consciously and deliberately assume it. This is not about faking it. It is an act of entering a new state of being through the gateway of your sanctified imagination. Let us first understand the profound logic behind this. Your subconscious mind, the great builder of your reality, does not think in words. It thinks in feelings and images. Furthermore, it cannot tell the difference between an experience that is vividly imagined and an experience that is physically happening. The emotional and physiological response is identical. For proof, simply close your eyes for a moment. Imagine you are in your kitchen, holding a bright yellow sour lemon. In your mind's eye, see its waxy skin, feel its weight in your hand. Now, imagine taking a knife and slicing it in half. See the juice burst forth. Now, bring that lemon half to your mouth and imagine taking a deep, sharp bite into its sour flesh. What happened? The chances are your mouth began to water. Your facial muscles may have even winced, but there was no lemon. The lemon was purely in your imagination. Yet, your body responded as if it were real. Your physical reality followed the lead of your imagined one. This is a perfect demonstration of a universal law. Your body and the universe at large do not respond to the facts of your world. They respond to the feelings and beliefs you hold as true within you. For most of your life, you have been living in the feeling of wanting wealth, wanting peace, wanting love. The feeling of wanting, by its very nature, is a declaration of, I do not have. And the universe, being a perfect mirror, has faithfully reflected this state of not having back to you. The great secret is to pivot from the state of wanting to the state of having. You must stop being the person who desires wealth and become the person who is wealth. The declaration, I am wealth, is the destination. The feeling of being wealthy is the bridge that takes you there. Let us use a metaphor to make this practice clear. Imagine that your life is a grand play being performed on a cosmic stage. Up until now, you have been unconsciously playing the role of the struggling person. You have played this part so well for so long that you have forgotten you are an actor. You believe the role is you. Now you are tearing up that old script. You are consciously taking on a new role, the abundantly fulfilled and prosperous person. A great actor does not just learn the lines. A great method actor becomes the character. They change their posture, their inner monologue, their emotional state to perfectly match the person they are portraying. They ask themselves constantly, what would my character be thinking right now? How would they feel in this situation? How would they walk into this room? This is now your spiritual work. You are to become a method actor for your highest self. The practice is to dedicate time each day, especially in the drowsy, receptive state, just before you fall asleep, to live in character. You must enter your imagination not as a daydreamer, but as a creator. The key is to construct a short, simple scene that implies your wish has already been fulfilled. Do not imagine the moment of receiving the money or getting the good news. This still focuses on the getting. Instead, imagine a scene that would naturally take place after the fact. For instance, if your desire is financial freedom, do not imagine a lottery win. Instead, imagine a simple, natural conversation with a loved one. See their face clearly. Hear their voice. Perhaps they are saying to you, "Isn't it wonderful how everything has worked out so beautifully for you?" And you, in your imagination, reply, "Yes, it truly is. I always knew it would." What is the feeling in that scene? It is not delirious excitement. It is a calm, deep feeling of relief, of satisfaction, of naturalness. It is the feeling of course, this is how it is now, Lou. Or you could imagine the simple act of looking at your bills and paying them, not with a knot of anxiety, but with the feeling of profound ease and gratitude. You could imagine yourself on a dream vacation, feeling the sun on your skin and the gentle breeze, with a dominant feeling of freedom and peace. The scene itself is not the point. The feeling the scene generates is everything. Your task is to loop this short, feeling-rich scene over and over in your mind until it takes on the tones of reality, until you are so saturated with the feeling of the wish fulfilled that you fall asleep in that state. You are impregnating the vast creative darkness of your subconscious mind with your new reality. You are planting the feeling seed of your new life. There is a subtle but crucial distinction to be made here. You must learn to live from the end, not for the end. Living for the end still implies a future-based hope. It is the energy of striving. Living from the end is a present moment reality. It is an inner shift in attitude and identity. As you go about your day, you begin to ask yourself, how would the version of me who is already wealthy and secure handle this situation? Would they gossip out of fear? Would they make a decision from a place of panic? Or would they move with a quiet confidence, an inner knowing that all is well? You begin to embody the state. You walk differently. You speak differently. You are no longer desperately trying to get something. You are acting from the calm certainty of being something. This is the shift from a beggar to a king. The beggar asks, the king knows. And when you change your inner state of being so completely, the outer world, which is nothing more than a shadow cast by your consciousness, must rearrange itself to conform to your new truth. This is the art and the science of assuming your desire. It is the bridge of feeling that allows you to walk from the declaration of I am to the experience of it. Your imagination is the sacred studio where the film of your future is shot. Your feeling state is the light that exposes the film, bringing the image to life. Practice this every night. Become the method actor of your dreams. Inhabit your new role so completely that it becomes more real to you than your current circumstances. For what you hold as real in your imagination, you will soon hold as fact in your hands. You have now been initiated into the great secret of creation. You understand that your feeling state is the magnet, that your declarations of I am are the seeds, and that the art of assuming the wish fulfilled is the sacred fire that brings your desires to life. You practice this diligently. You spend your nights saturated in the feeling of abundance, peace, and success. You feel the reality of it in your bones. And then, you open your eyes to the light of day, and the world of so-called facts rushes in to challenge you. A bill arrives that is larger than you expected. You receive a rejection letter. A difficult conversation throws you off balance. In this moment, the fragile new consciousness is tempted toward its greatest crisis of faith. The ego, the guardian of your old reality, rises up and says with cynical satisfaction, "You see, it's not working. You are just fooling yourself. This is all a fantasy." This is the most crucial juncture in your creative journey. It is the moment where most people abandon their inner work, concluding that it was all just a foolish game. But you will not. Because you are now going to understand the nature of the journey from the unseen to the seen, you are going to learn to trust the bridge of incidents. When you successfully impress your subconscious mind with a new state of being, you have set a divine process in motion. The journey from that inner impression to its outer fulfillment is not an instantaneous, magical leap. It is a pathway that must be constructed in your three-dimensional world, and this pathway is the bridge of incidents. Think of it as a series of divinely orchestrated events, people, and circumstances that are arranged by a higher intelligence to move you from your current position to your desired destination. Your job is to hold the feeling of being at the destination. The universe's job is to build the bridge and guide you across it. The critical thing you must understand is that this bridge is often built out of the raw materials of your current life, and it does not always look the way you expect. Your logical mind thinks in straight lines. It assumes the path to more money is a promotion at your current job. But the universal mind, which sees all possibilities, may know that your current job is a dead end. So, what might the first event on your bridge of incidents be? It might be that you get laid off. The ego will immediately label this event disaster. It will panic. It will see it as definitive proof that your inner work is failing. But the higher intelligence sees it as a necessary and merciful act of demolition. The old rickety structure that was blocking your path has now been removed, clearing the ground for a magnificent new highway to be built. The very event you labeled as bad was the first essential step in the fulfillment of your prayer. A relationship may end to make way for the true love you have been affirming. A health challenge may arise to force you to finally learn how to care for your body. A financial setback may appear to teach you a skill or a level of resilience that is required for you to manage the greater wealth that is coming. The universe is not punishing you, it is preparing you. It is rearranging the furniture of your life to accommodate the new reality you have commanded. Let us use a modern metaphor to make this clear. Your desire, which you have impressed upon your subconscious, is a destination you have programmed into a universal global positioning system, or GPS. You have entered the coordinates for a life of joyful, abundant freedom. The universal GPS, with its satellite view of all timelines, all traffic patterns, all road closures and all possible routes, instantly calculates the most efficient path for you. Now, you begin your journey. You are holding the feeling of already being at your destination. The GPS, your intuition, your inspired impulses, gives you the turn-by-turn directions. It whispers, "Turn left here," and you are inspired to take a different route home from work, where you bump into an old friend who has a brilliant business idea for you. But then, something strange happens. You are driving on a familiar highway, and the GPS suddenly says, "In 500 feet, exit onto this small, unfamiliar side road." Your logical mind protests. "No, that makes no sense. The highway is the fastest way. This little road looks slow and convoluted." But the GPS, with its higher perspective, can see what you cannot. 5 miles ahead on the highway, there is a massive accident that will hold you in traffic for 3 hours. The strange detour, the event that your ego labels as a delay or a mistake, is in fact the divinely orchestrated shortcut. This is how the bridge of incidents works. It will often guide you down paths that your logical mind cannot comprehend. It may seem as though you are going backward or sideways or into a frightening and unknown territory. These are the moments your faith is tested. Your job is not to understand the entire map. Your job is to trust the GPS. And what if you miss a turn? What if your fear gets the best of you and you ignore the inspired impulse? Does the universe give up on you? The GPS does not scold you. It simply says, quietly and calmly, recalculating, and from your new position, it finds another route. You cannot get this permanently wrong. As long as you maintain your destination, your inner feeling state of the wish fulfilled, the universal intelligence will ceaselessly work to find new pathways to get you there. Your practice then, while walking this bridge, is to cultivate a state of radical trust. It is to consciously reinterpret every event through the lens of faith. When a challenge appears, instead of panicking, you will learn to pause, take a breath, and say with a curious calm, "Interesting, I see you. I wonder how you are serving me. I wonder how you are a necessary stone on my bridge." This neutralizes the fear and aligns you with the wisdom of the process. You must also make peace with the divine timing of the universe. There is a necessary gestation period between the moment of conception, your imaginative act, and the moment of birth, your physical reality. The seed needs time to grow in the dark. A farmer who trusts the process does not worry during the winter. He knows the life force is gathering its strength beneath the frozen ground. Trust your winter. To walk this bridge with the steadfastness it requires, you must keep your eyes fixed on your destination, not on the churning water below. You must hold fast to your inner state, your feeling of having already arrived, regardless of the outer weather. This feeling is the fuel that moves you along the bridge. To revert to fear, doubt, and despair is to tell the GPS that you have changed your mind and want to go back to your starting point of lack and struggle. Your life is not a series of random and chaotic events. It is an intelligently orchestrated journey, a magnificent bridge of incidents designed to carry you from the person you thought you were to the person you truly are. Every single event, every person you meet, every challenge you face is a precisely placed stone in that path. Your only job is to walk it with courage, to trust its destination, and to hold the feeling of home in your heart long before you see it on the horizon. But as you walk this sacred, custom-built bridge, a powerful temptation will arise. It is the temptation to look away from your own path and to gaze upon the bridges of others. You may see that someone else's path looks faster, straighter, or more beautifully paved than your own. This simple act of looking away from your journey to envy another's is the quickest and most effective way to lose your footing and fall. To walk your bridge with the faith it demands, you must come to understand a profound truth. Your path is sacred, and it is yours alone. You must learn to escape the comparison trap. You are walking your sacred bridge of incidents, holding the feeling of your wish fulfilled. You are learning to trust the unfolding path, even when it takes you on strange and unexpected detours. Your faith is growing, but as you walk, you are faced with one of the most powerful and insidious temptations of the human experience. It is the temptation to stop, to lean over the railing of your own sacred bridge, and to look at the bridges of others. It is the temptation to compare. Let us be clear. The act of comparison is an act of spiritual violence against yourself. It is the thief of joy, the murderer of presence, and the quickest way to unplug yourself from the universal power source. The moment you measure your progress, your path, or your blessings against anyone else's, you have abandoned your own journey. You have stepped off your sacred ground. All the precious energy you have cultivated, all the focus you have gathered, begins to leak away. You have disconnected from your own inner guidance system and have tuned your frequency to the chaotic static of social competition. Why do we do this? This painful habit is a direct symptom of the great forgetting. It is born from the lie of unworthiness and the external definition of wealth. When we do not know our own intrinsic value, we look outside of ourselves for a yardstick. We try to determine our worth by measuring our stuff against their stuff, our accomplishments against theirs, our timeline against theirs. We have been conditioned to believe that life is a race, a single track, where we must all compete for a limited number of prizes. This is the foundational illusion that creates all the misery of comparison. The logic of comparison is always flawed and dishonest. You are, in every instance, comparing your private, messy, behind-the-scenes footage with all its doubts, fears, and struggles to someone else's public highlight reel. You see the curated perfection of their life on social media, the polished image they present to the world, and you mistake that tiny, edited sliver of their experience for the whole. It is a fundamentally rigged game designed to make you feel as though you are losing. Consider the energetic cost. When you compare yourself to someone who appears to have more than you, more money, a better relationship, faster success, you immediately plunge yourself down the vibrational scale into the dense, heavy frequencies of envy, jealousy, and despair. You are screaming at the universe, "I am lacking. Look at what I don't have." And the universe, the faithful mirror, responds by magnifying your state of lack. When you compare yourself to someone who appears to have less than you may feel a fleeting moment of egoic pride or relief, but this too is a low vibration. It is rooted in a sense of separation and judgment, reinforcing the very illusion of hierarchy we are trying to transcend. In either direction, up or down, comparison is a declaration of separation. It is an act of forgetting that we are all unique, individual expressions of one single, infinite consciousness. To free yourself from this prison, you must internalize a new and liberating truth. Your path is not their path. To illustrate this, let us hold a metaphor in our minds. Imagine a vast and beautiful garden. In one corner, a majestic oak tree is growing. Next to it, there is a vibrant rose bush. In the early summer, the rose bush explodes into a breathtaking display of fragrant crimson blossoms. It is glorious, radiant, and receives all the praise and attention from visitors to the garden. Now, imagine if the oak tree had the capacity for comparison. It might look at the rose bush and fall into despair. "I am a failure," it might think. "I have no beautiful flowers. I produce no sweet perfume. My bark is rough and my leaves are plain. The rose is clearly the superior being. My life is one of struggle and ugliness." In its despair, the oak might even try to force a flower to grow from one of its woody branches, a painful and unnatural act that would only sap its strength and result in a grotesque mutation. But you, from your higher perspective, can see the profound error in the oak tree's thinking. The oak's destiny is not to produce a fleeting flower. The oak's destiny is to sink its roots deep into the earth, to anchor the very ground beneath it. Its purpose is to grow a trunk of immense strength and a vast, sprawling canopy that will provide shade and shelter for countless animals, lovers, and mystics for 100 years or more. Its wealth is expressed not as color, but as stability, not as perfume, but as endurance. The rose's wealth is in its exquisite, transient beauty. The oak's wealth is in its quiet, enduring majesty. One is not better than the other. They are simply different, perfect, and unique expressions of life. To compare them is to be blind to the sacred purpose of both. You are not an oak tree trying to be a rose. You are a unique soul with a unique blueprint for how abundance, joy, and success will manifest through you. Your wealth may not look like your neighbor's wealth. Theirs might be a flashy, spectacular, rose-like display of material success. Yours might be a quiet, strong, oak-like wealth of unshakable peace, deep wisdom, and a family legacy of love and stability. To covet their expression of abundance is to disrespect the sacred design of your own. Your journey is custom-made for your soul's expansion. The detours, the challenges, the timing it is all perfectly tailored for you. To envy another's journey is to tell the universe that you believe it made a mistake in designing yours. How then do we break this deep-seated addiction? First, by making a conscious commitment to stay in your own lane. Imagine you are a runner in your designated lane on a track. Your power, speed, and focus come from looking straight ahead at the path before you. The moment you turn your head to see how fast the runner in the next lane is going, you lose your form, you lose your momentum, and you risk stumbling. Your only job is to run your race on your path. When you catch yourself looking sideways, gently but firmly turn your head back to your own feet, on your own sacred ground. Second, adopt a new mantra. When you feel the poison of comparison begin to seep in, immediately stop the thought and replace it with this one. Their path is not my path. My path is sacred, and it is unfolding perfectly for me. This is an act of power. It honors their journey without diminishing your own. It returns you to a state of sovereign grace. Third, you must learn to transmute envy into inspiration. This is the advanced practice that turns the poison into medicine. When you see someone who has what you desire, practice seeing their success not as something that has been taken from you, but as proof that you live in a generous universe where such things are possible. Their achievement is a testament to the creative power that you also possess. Celebrate their success genuinely. Feel happy for them. In doing so, you align yourself with the frequency of success itself. You move from the vibration of "I lack that" to the vibration of "I am," surrounded by evidence of abundance. Their success becomes a promise of your own. When you finally release the need to compare, something miraculous happens. All of that energy that was leaking out to the sides, all that power you were wasting in envy and judgment, comes flooding back to you. You become fully present on your own bridge, fully engaged with your own life. You can hear your own intuitive guidance clearly again because you are no longer deafened by the noise of other people's lives. You are a divine original, and you have finally stopped trying to be a copy. With this newfound focus, with all of your creative life force now gathered and contained within you, you are ready to engage with the world from a completely new and powerful perspective. You are no longer looking outward at what you can get or how you measure up. Your focus now turns to your own unique gifts, the treasure you alone were brought here to share. And this leads us to one of the most beautiful and counterintuitive laws of wealth, the generosity paradox. You are about to discover that the fastest and most joyful way to fill your own storehouses is to unlock the doors and begin giving your unique treasures away. You have returned home to yourself. By releasing the poison of comparison, you have stepped fully onto your own sacred path. All of that creative energy that was once scattered to the winds of envy and self-doubt has now come flooding back to you, a powerful river of contained and focused life force. The question now becomes, what do you do with this newfound power? The logic of the world, born from a deep-seated fear of scarcity, would advise you to hoard it, to build a dam, to guard your energy, to protect what you have for fear of losing it. But we are not here to live by the fearful logic of the world. We are here to align ourselves with the joyful and paradoxical wisdom of the universe. And that wisdom tells us this: the more you give, the more you have. This is the generosity paradox, and it is one of the most beautiful and counterintuitive laws of abundance. To the ego, this makes no sense. The ego is a mathematician of a limited world. It believes that if you have 10 things and you give one away, you are left with 9. But the universe does not operate on the ego's simple arithmetic. It operates on the dynamic principles of flow, circulation, and resonance. It knows that abundance is not a stagnant pond to be guarded, but a rushing river that is kept healthy and vibrant only by its constant movement. Before we proceed, we must make a crucial distinction, for not all giving is created equal. There are two vastly different energies from which you can give, and only one of them creates abundance. The first is giving from a place of lack. This is the energy of sacrifice, of martyrdom. It is giving with an invisible hook, an unconscious expectation of a return. It's the energy that says, "I will do this for you, but I will feel resentful if you don't appreciate it enough," or "I will give you my last dollar, and I secretly hope that God will see my noble sacrifice and reward me for it." This kind of giving feels heavy, draining, and often leads to bitterness. It is not true generosity. It is a transaction disguised as a gift. It is a vibrational declaration of, "I am depleting myself in the hopes of getting something back," and it only serves to reinforce your own state of lack. The second type of giving is giving from a place of fullness. This is the energy of overflow. This is giving not because you feel you should, but because your own inner cup is so full of joy, of gratitude, of life force, that it naturally spills over to everything and everyone around you. It is giving for the pure, unadulterated delight of the act itself, with absolutely no thought of what you will get back. It is the sun shining. The sun does not shine in order to receive thanks from the planets. It shines because shining is its nature. Giving from fullness is a powerful, joyful affirmation to the universe. It is a song that sings, "I have more than enough. My supply is infinite. I am a fountain of good." And the universe, hearing this beautiful song of overflow, joyfully conspires to give you even more to overflow with. To embody this principle, let us use the most intimate and vital metaphor there is, your own breath. The flow of abundance in the universe works exactly like the process of breathing, the act of receiving money, love, ideas, complemensis, the in-breath. It is necessary, essential, and life-giving. But now, try a small experiment. Take a deep, satisfying breath in and hold it. Cling to it. Refuse to let it go. Now, while still holding it, try to take another breath in. It is impossible. Your lungs are full. To cling to the old air is to refuse the new. Your body becomes tense, starved of fresh oxygen, and a state of panic sets in. To receive the next fresh, life-giving breath, there is something you absolutely must do first. You must exhale. You must let go completely. You must empty your lungs to make space for them to be filled again. And here is the paradox. The more fully and completely you exhale, the deeper and more satisfying your next inhalation will be. Giving is the exhale of abundance. The fear of giving, the scarcity mindset that tells you to hoard what you have, is like being afraid to breathe out for fear that the world will run out of air. It is a fear that goes against the very rhythm of life itself. Every time you give freely from a place of fullness, you are completing a sacred exhale. You are creating a vacuum, a space, and the universe, which abhors a vacuum, rushes to fill that space with new, fresh, and even greater abundance than you released. You do not give to get, you give to live. What then can you give? You must expand your definition of generosity far beyond the concept of money. You are a fountain of priceless treasures. Give a genuine, heartfelt compliment to a stranger. You are exhaling the energy of appreciation. Give your complete, undivided, present moment attention to a loved one. You are exhaling the energy of connection, the most valuable gift of all. Give your unique talent away. If you are a writer, write an encouraging note to someone. If you are a musician, play a song for a friend who is feeling down. If you are a baker, bake for your neighbors. You are exhaling the energy of your purpose. Give a smile. Give encouragement. Give the benefit of the doubt. Give forgiveness. Each of these acts is a powerful outbreath. Each one creates a vacuum that pulls more grace, more joy, and more connection into your life. You begin to shift your entire self-concept. You are no longer just a container trying to get full. You have become a conduit, a channel through which the abundance of the universe can flow. Think of the difference. A container, a pond, is static. Its goal is to be full. But if no new water flows in, it becomes stagnant and lifeless. A channel, a river, is dynamic. Its joy is not in holding, but in flowing. The more water that flows through a river, the wider and deeper its banks become, allowing it to channel even more. Your work is to become a mighty river of abundance. You can begin to ask yourself a new question each morning. Instead of, "What can I get today?" ask, "How can the universe flow through me today? What unique gift can I give? How can I be of service?" When you make yourself a joyful and willing distributor of the universe's gifts, the universe will ensure that its most effective agent is always fully supplied. This is the joyful dance of wealth. It is an endless, graceful cycle of breathing in and breathing out. You receive with gratitude, and you give with joy. You inhale the blessings, and you exhale them back into the world, multiplied by your own unique love and creativity. There is no clinging, no fear, no hoarding. There is only flow. You are not a pond, you are a river. Your true wealth is not measured by what you accumulate and hold, but by the volume of beauty, kindness, and value that is allowed to flow through you. As you step into this new role as an open and flowing channel for abundance, your entire energetic signature begins to change. It grows brighter, stronger, and more coherent. You become vibrationally potent. This newfound radiance is a precious and powerful thing, and like any beautiful and thriving garden, it requires conscious stewardship. It must be protected from negative influences that would seek to diminish it. You must now learn to create and maintain a sacred space for your flourishing, a sanctuary for your mind and soul, free from the contaminating influence of the world's belief in scarcity. You are now operating from a new center of gravity. By embracing the joyful paradox of generosity, you have transformed yourself from a stagnant pond into a flowing river. Your energy is circulating, your heart is open, and your very presence is becoming a magnetic force, drawing light and opportunity toward you. This newfound radiance is your most precious creation, a vibrant inner fire that you have painstakingly learned to kindle. And now, you must learn to be the faithful guardian of this flame. Just as a wise person would protect a candle from a harsh wind, you must learn to protect your energy from the pervasive chill of a world still largely asleep in the dream of scarcity. Your vibrational state is your single most valuable asset. It is the womb in which your future reality is gestating. To allow this delicate, sacred space to be contaminated by external negativity is to compromise the health of the very life you are creating. Protecting your energy is not a selfish act. It is a sacred responsibility. It is not about building fortress walls out of fear and cutting yourself off from the world. It is about becoming a conscious curator of your own experience. It is the art of creating a sanctuary for your soul, a safe harbor where your new, higher consciousness can stabilize, strengthen, and grow deep, unshakable roots. You must come to understand that energy is contagious. Just as you can catch a virus from someone who is physically ill, you can absorb the vibrational state of the people, information, and environments you surround yourself with. Your energy field is constantly interacting with the world, and if you are not conscious, the lower, denser, and often louder vibrations of the collective consciousness can easily overwhelm your own. This energetic contamination comes from three primary sources. The first and most powerful source is other people. We are social beings, but we must become discerning about the company we keep. You know who these people are in your life. They are the energy vampires, the chronic complainers, the tireless cynics. They are the friends who, when you share a dream, immediately list all the reasons it will fail. They are the family members who, under the guise of being realistic, douse your inner fire with the cold water of their own fears and limitations. They are the co-workers who thrive on a diet of gossip, drama, and negativity. To spend extended time in their presence, listening to their tales of woe and injustice, is to willingly sit in a thick cloud of spiritual smog. You may walk away feeling drained, heavy, and discouraged, without even knowing why. You have been energetically contaminated. The second source is the information you consume. Your mind is a field, and every news article you read, every podcast you listen to, every social media feed you scroll through is a seed you are planting in it. What are you feeding your consciousness every day? Are you consuming a constant diet of fear, outrage, and disaster from mainstream news outlets, which are commercially engineered to keep you in a state of anxiety? Are you scrolling through the curated highlight reels of others on social media, feeding the beast of comparison and inadequacy? This is junk food for the soul. It lowers your vibration and reinforces the belief that the world is a dangerous, competitive, and scarce place. The third source is your physical environment. The spaces you inhabit have a profound and subtle effect on your inner state. A cluttered, disorganized home creates a cluttered, disorganized mind. A workplace filled with noise, harsh lighting, and stressed-out people will inevitably deplete your energetic reserves. The energy of a place matters. To protect yourself, let us hold a guiding metaphor in our minds. Imagine that your consciousness, with all its new and fragile beliefs about your own worth and abundance, is a state-of-the-art greenhouse. Inside this pristine, light-filled space, you are nurturing the most precious seedlings. There is the tiny sprout of I am wealth. There is the delicate budding flower of I trust the universe. There is the young vine of I am worthy of receiving. These are your future. They are still tender, still vulnerable. The purpose of the greenhouse is to create an optimal, controlled environment. Its glass walls are designed to let in the life-giving sunlight of high vibrational energy, while protecting the seedlings from the harsh, unpredictable weather outside. And what is that weather? It is the collective consciousness. It is the cold winds of cynicism. It is the sudden hailstorms of others' doubt and negativity. It is the creeping pests of gossip and complaint that would love nothing more than to crawl inside and devour your tender new growth. What does a wise gardener do? They do not plant these precious young seedlings out in the open field before their roots are deep and their stems are strong. That would be foolish. The gardener keeps them in the protected sanctuary of the greenhouse, carefully managing the temperature, the humidity, and the light. This is your task now. You are the master gardener of your own sacred space. Keeping the greenhouse door closed means making the conscious choice to lovingly disengage from long, draining conversations about problems. It means when a friend starts their usual litany of complaints, you can listen with compassion for a few minutes, but then you must gently change the subject or politely excuse yourself. You are not rejecting them, you are protecting your seedlings. Maintaining the greenhouse means checking for cracked panes of glass. This is the equivalent of auditing your information diet. Unfollow the social media accounts that leave you feeling less than. Unsubscribe from the news, alerts that only serve to make you anxious. Choose instead to consume content that is uplifting, inspiring, and aligned with the new reality you are building. Be as selective about what you feed your mind as you would be about what you feed your body. You must also tend to your physical environment. Create a small sanctuary in your home. It does not need to be large or expensive. A single clean corner, a comfortable chair where you can read and meditate, a healthy plant, a beautiful candle, a dedicated space that feels peaceful and high vibrational. When you enter this space, you are consciously stepping into your greenhouse, reinforcing your inner state with a supportive outer environment. This process is not about hiding from the world in fear. It is about discernment. It is a temporary and necessary phase of incubation. You are strengthening your new identity. Once your oak tree of abundance has deep roots and a thick trunk, it will be able to withstand any storm. It will be able to offer shelter to others. But while it is still a sapling, it must be protected. Your practice is to become a finely tuned instrument of energetic awareness. After you interact with a person, a place, or a piece of information, pause and check in with yourself. How do you feel? Do you feel energized, light, and expansive? Or do you feel drained, heavy, and contracted? Your body, your feeling state, is your unerring compass. It will always tell you what nourishes your soul and what poisons it. Trust this inner guidance system above all else. You are the guardian at the gate of your own sacred being. It is an act of profound self-love and a declaration of your worth to consciously choose what you allow into your inner and outer world. By creating and maintaining this sacred space, you provide the optimal conditions for the seeds of your new reality to grow strong, healthy, and unassailable. But this protection requires more than just keeping negative influences out. It also requires the strength and clarity to actively remove what is already inside your space, but no longer belongs. It requires you to learn and master one of the wealthiest words in the human language. It is the art of setting loving but firm boundaries. It is the power and the wealth of the word number. You have learned to be the guardian of your sacred space, to curate a high vibrational greenhouse where the seeds of your new reality can thrive. You are becoming discerning about the energy you allow into your world. But this protection is not merely a passive act of keeping negative influences out. It is also an active process of removing what is already inside your space, but no longer serves your growth. To do this, you must reclaim and master one of the most powerful, loving, and wealth-creating words in your vocabulary. The word number. In a society that prizes agreeableness and fears conflict, the word no has been unjustly vilified. We have been conditioned to believe that a no is an act of unkindness, of selfishness, of rejection. For many, especially those who learn to survive by being people-pleasers, the inability to say no is a deep-seated trauma response. You learned that saying yes kept you safe, made you feel loved, and avoided disapproval. And so you said yes to everything, and in doing so, you slowly gave your life away. A weak or non-existent no means your sacred greenhouse has no door. It means anyone can wander in at any time, trample on your seedlings, and leave their muddy footprints on your soul. Let us be clear about the high cost of this. Every single time you say yes to something that your body, your intuition, and your soul are screaming no to, you betray yourself. This self-betrayal is a profound act of spiritual violence. It creates a deep inner conflict, a toxic brew of resentment that poisons your energy field. You begin to resent the person you couldn't say no to, and even more, you begin to resent yourself for your own lack of integrity. This creates a massive energy leak. You are trying to fill your own cup while simultaneously allowing dozens of people to drill holes in the bottom of it. Your life force, your precious creative energy, is scattered and depleted, spent on others' priorities, leaving you with nothing left for your own dreams. This is not a path to abundance. It is a path to burnout. Vibrationally, every inauthentic yes is a powerful declaration to the universe that your own time, energy, and well-being are not valuable. You are trying to affirm, I am worthy, while your actions are screaming, everyone else's needs are more important than mine. The universe, confused by this contradictory signal, can only reflect your chaotic and scattered state back to you. To reclaim your power, you must learn to speak and live a coherent truth. You must learn the wealth of number, and to understand its creative power, imagine your life and your energy are a magnificent fruit tree. The tree's purpose is to grow strong, to reach for the sun, and to produce an abundance of delicious, nourishing fruit. This fruit represents your joy, your purpose, your unique gifts, your wealth. An unpruned tree, however, grows chaotically. It spends its precious life, force the sap, the nutrients from the soil on hundreds of different branches. Many of these branches are weak, tangled, and unproductive. Some are even diseased. These branches are the obligations you accepted out of guilt, the friendships that no longer nourish you, the projects that drain your passion, the draining requests you said yes to out of a fear of saying no. The tree is very busy growing, but its energy is so dispersed that it produces very little, if any, quality fruit. A master gardener knows that to get a bountiful harvest, you must practice the art of pruning. With a sharp and decisive tool, the gardener cuts away the weak links, the suckers that drain the tree's energy, the branches that are growing in the wrong direction, and those that are diseased. To a naive observer, this pruning might look like an act of destruction. It seems harsh to cut parts of the tree away, but the gardener knows this is not an act of violence. It is an act of profound love and focused intelligence. By removing the dozens of unproductive branches, the tree is now able to direct all of its concentrated life force into its strongest and healthiest limbs. The result is vigorous new growth, a powerful and resilient structure, and an abundance of large, sweet, perfect fruit. Your life is this tree. Saying no is your sacred act of pruning. Saying no to the committee you joined out of obligation is pruning a weak branch. Saying no to the social event that you know will drain you is pruning a diseased limb. Saying no to a request that doesn't align with your highest priorities is the loving and necessary act that allows your life force to consolidate and flow toward the things that will truly bear fruit in your life. Each no you speak to what is out of alignment is a powerful and resounding yes to your own soul, to your own dreams, to your own abundance. The fear, of course, is that saying no will create conflict or cause people to dislike you. This requires you to learn the art of the compassionate number. Your no does not need to be aggressive or apologetic. It can be delivered with calm, loving, self-respecting energy. You do not owe anyone a long, elaborate justification. A simple, gracious decline is a complete statement. Thank you so much for the invitation, but I won't be able to make it. Or, thank you for thinking of me for this project, but my plate is full right now and I can't give it the attention it deserves. A powerful and honest response is, I'm focusing all of my energy on my family and my primary project right now, so I have to say no to any new commitments. Notice that these statements are not rejections of the other person. They are statements of honor for your own priorities. You are teaching people how to treat you by demonstrating that you value your own energy. Those who respect you will respect your boundaries. Those who become angry or try to guilt you for having boundaries are revealing that their interest was not in your well-being, but in what they could get from you. Your compassionate no is a powerful filter that helps you discern the true nature of your relationships. No is not a negative word. It is a word of clarity. It is a word of focus. It is the sound of a person who honors their own sacred space and their own divine purpose. A powerful, authentic yes to your most cherished dreams requires 1,000 well-placed and courageous no's to everything that is not that. It is the tool that prunes your life for maximum health, beauty, and abundance. As you master this art, your life begins to simplify and clarify in the most beautiful way. Your energy, no longer leaking out in a dozen different directions, becomes contained, coherent, and potent. Your sacred space is clean, and your boundaries are strong. In this newfound state of integrity and spaciousness, you begin to notice something you were too busy and too drained to notice before. You begin to notice the space between things, the silence between the notes of your life. You are no longer in a frantic rush to fill every moment with activity, and in this stillness, you discover a profound and hidden source of wealth. You are ready to learn the power of the pause. Your life is becoming a work of conscious art. You have learned to protect your sacred space, to prune the branches of your life with the compassionate clarity of a master gardener. Your energy is no longer scattered. It is contained, potent, and directed by your own intention. This new state of being creates a gift you may not have experienced in a very long time. The gift of empty space, the gift of unscheduled moments, the gift of silence. In the modern world, this gift is often perceived as a threat. We live in a culture that worships busyness. We have been taught to fear the void, to fill every silent moment with noise, every empty space with activity. The statement, "I am so busy," has become a twisted badge of honor, a way of signaling our importance. We have come to believe that to be still is to be unproductive, and to be unproductive is to be worthless. This is the most profound and exhausting illusion of our time. Today, we will dismantle that illusion. We will discover that stillness is not emptiness, but profound fullness. We will learn that the pause is not a waste of time, but the very incubator of genius. We will reclaim the revolutionary power of stillness. The cult of busyness keeps you locked in the frantic, surface-level reality of the ego. It is the energy of the desperate hustle, a state of constant doing that leaves no room for being. When you are always in motion, always reacting, always processing the next task, you are operating solely from your conscious, logical mind. This mind is a useful tool, but it is a limited one. It can only work with the data it already has, the experiences of the past. It can solve problems, but it cannot perform miracles. Your greatest wisdom, your most brilliant creative breakthroughs, your deepest intuitive guidance, these do not come from the chattering, busy mind. They arise from the vast, silent intelligence that lies beneath it. The universal mind, your higher self, speaks in whispers. If your own inner world is a constant cacophony of noise and activity, you will never hear its guidance. Constant busyness creates a thick layer of spiritual static, blocking the divine broadcast that is always available to you. To understand the power you can access, let us hold a clear metaphor in our consciousness. Imagine your mind is a deep, pristine lake. For most of your life, the winds of the world have been blowing relentlessly across this lake. The wind of social media notifications, the wind of deadlines and demands, the wind of financial anxiety, the wind of other people's opinions. When these winds are strong, the surface of your lake is agitated, covered in a chaotic dance of ripples and waves. When your mind is in this state, what can you see? You can see only the distorted, frantic reflections of the outer world. The surface activity completely obscures the depths. You are trapped in a reality that is merely a reflection of external chaos. Now, imagine you make a conscious choice to seek shelter from the wind. You step into the forest, you find a quiet cove. The wind dies down, the air becomes calm, and slowly, miraculously, the surface of the lake grows still. The ripples subside, the water becomes as smooth and clear as a flawless sheet of glass. What happens in this stillness? First, the reflection of the outer world becomes lucid and perfect. You see things as they are, without distortion. But something far more profound occurs. For the first time, you can see through the surface. Your gaze is no longer trapped by the reflection. It can now penetrate the depths. And what lies at the bottom of the deep, still lake of your own mind? There lie the sunken treasures of your soul. There are the iridescent pearls of brilliant, innovative ideas you never knew you had. There are the heavy, gleaming chests of gold that are your true life's purpose. There are the smooth, ancient stones of your deepest wisdom and intuition. There are the lost diamonds of your own divinity. These riches have always been there, waiting for you. But they are completely invisible and inaccessible when the surface of your mind is in a state of constant turmoil. The practice of the pause is the sacred act of allowing the winds to die down. You do not force the lake to be still. You cannot command the ripples to cease. That would only create more agitation. Your work is simply to create the conditions for stillness to arise naturally. It is the choice to withdraw your energy from the winds of the world for a few moments, so that your own inner water can find its natural, placid state. You do not have to make the water clear. You simply have to allow the mud of confusion to settle to the bottom, which it will always do when it is not being constantly stirred by the paddle of anxious thought. How do you practice this in a world that never stops? You do not need to retreat to a monastery for a month. You can begin by weaving moments of stillness or micropauses into the fabric of your day. Before you press send on that important email, pause, close your eyes, take one single conscious breath. Feel your feet on the floor, then press send. Before you get out of your car at home, after you have turned off the engine, do not immediately rush inside. Sit in the silence for just 60 seconds. Let the energy of the day's journey settle. Let the lake grow still. When you go for a walk, resist the urge to fill the space with a podcast or a phone call. Try a silent walk. Feel the air on your skin. Listen to the sounds of the world around you without judgment. Notice the rhythm of your own footsteps. This simple act of mindful sensory awareness is a powerful way to quiet the inner narrator and return to the peace of the present moment. Most radically of all, you can schedule doing nothing into your calendar. Treat it as a non-negotiable sacred appointment with your soul. For 15 minutes, you will simply be. Sit in a comfortable chair. Stare out the window. Watch your breath flow in and out. You are not trying to meditate perfectly. You are simply giving your mind permission to be fallow, to be empty. You are creating a fertile void. It is in these moments of unstructured, purposeless being that the greatest aha moments will strike you like lightning. The solution to a problem you have been wrestling with for weeks will suddenly appear, fully formed, in your quiet mind. The whisper of an inspired action will become clear. Inspiration is born in the pause. Stillness is not empty. It is pregnant with potential. The pause is not a lack of action. It is the source of all potent, effective, and inspired action. By consciously embracing moments of stillness, you shift from being a frantic reactor to the world's chaos to a centered creator whose actions spring from a deep and quiet well of inner peace and wisdom. You stop being the agitated ripple on the surface and become the calm, clear depths of the entire lake. And as you sit in this profound stillness, as you gaze into the lucid depths of your own being, a final and ultimate realization begins to dawn. You see the treasures lying on the floor of the lake, the wisdom, the love, the power, the abundance, and you notice something extraordinary. You realize that they are not, in fact, separate from you. You are not the observer looking at the treasure. The observer and the treasure are made of the same essential substance. The awareness that is looking and the abundance that is being looked upon are one. You are not a person trying to get abundance. You are the abundance you seek. It is time to dissolve the final separation. You have learned to sit in the profound and fertile power of the pause. In that stillness, gazing into the clear, quiet lake of your own being, you have seen the treasures that lie in your depths. Now, we arrive at the final frontier of this inner journey. We arrive at the understanding that will collapse the entire structure of seeking and striving. It is the realization that will bring the long, arduous search for abundance to a peaceful and permanent end. It is the dissolution of the final and most fundamental illusion, the illusion of separation. For your entire life, your mind has operated on a simple dualistic principle. It has created a subject, me, and an object, it. There is me, the small, separate self, and then there is it, the money, the love, the success, the peace, the object that I need to acquire in order to be happy and whole. This subject-object split is the root of all human suffering. As long as wealth is an it that is separate from me, you are condemned to a life of chasing. There will always be a gap to be bridged, a distance to be traveled, a fear of not getting it, and a fear of losing it once you do. This mindset places you as a tiny, needy fragment in a vast, indifferent universe, a beggar pleading for scraps from a world that holds all the power. Today, you will learn the truth. There is no separation. You are not a fragment seeking wholeness. You are wholeness itself, momentarily forgetting. You are not a being trying to get abundance. You are the abundance you seek. Let us use a timeless metaphor to guide our understanding into this profound, non-dual reality. Imagine you are a wave on the surface of a vast and limitless ocean. From the perspective of the wave, you have a distinct form. You rise up from the great expanse of water. You take on a unique shape. You travel in a certain direction. You have a beginning, and you have an end when you inevitably crash upon the shore. From this vantage point, you look out and you see a world of other waves, millions of them, all seemingly separate from you. Some are bigger and more powerful, some are smaller and weaker. You might feel a sense of competition with them, a sense of your own smallness and temporary nature in the face of the vast, seemingly separate entity you call the ocean. This is the perspective of the human ego. It is a true experience, but it is not the ultimate truth. Now, let us shift perspective. What is this wave actually made of? Is it composed of some special wave stuff that is different from the ocean stuff that surrounds it? Of course not. The wave is, was, and always will be 100% ocean. Its entire substance, its form, its power, its very essence is the water of the ocean. The wave is simply the ocean rising up to express itself as a wave for a brief, beautiful, and glorious moment. The wave does not need to attract oceanness to itself. It does not need to perform certain techniques to become worthy of being water. It is water. The spiritual awakening of the wave is the moment it realizes, with a sudden, shocking clarity, I am not just a wave, I am the ocean. In that instant of recognition, all of its fears dissolve. How can it fear its own end when it knows that crashing on the shore is simply the act of returning to the totality of itself? How can it feel envy for a bigger wave when it knows that both are animated by the same substance, the same power? How can it possibly feel lack when it realizes that it is, in its essence, the entire, boundless, unfathomable ocean itself? You are this wave. Your personality, your name, your body, your history. This is your beautiful, unique, and temporary form. It is a precious and valid expression of life. But it is not the totality of who you are. Your true self, your eternal essence, is the boundless ocean of pure consciousness, of infinite potentiality. Abundance is not something that is outside of you, a quality you need to attract from the world. Abundance is the very water of which you are made. Wealth is not something you have, it is what you are. Let this realization permeate your being. It is the homecoming your soul has been longing for. The hunt is over. You can finally stop seeking because you have found that you were the treasure all along. How do we begin to live from this profound truth, rather than just understanding it as a beautiful idea? We must revisit the tools we have already gathered on this journey, but now we will use them with a new depth of understanding. Consider your I am declarations. When you first began, saying, I am wealth, may have felt like an affirmation, a statement of a future you were trying to create. Now, see it differently. When you declare, I am wealth, it is no longer the wave trying to convince itself it is worthy. It is the ocean itself, declaring its own nature through your lips. It is not a statement of hope. It is a statement of fact from a higher dimension of your being. It is truth, recognizing itself. You can also embody this realization through your perception. As you go through your day, practice dissolving the illusion of separation. Look at a thriving tree, and instead of seeing it as a separate object, feel the same life force that animates it also animating you. Feel the breath entering your lungs, and recognize it as the same atmosphere that envelops the entire planet. See the abundance of life everywhere, in the countless blades of grass, in the complexity of an insect's wing, in the generosity of a stranger's smile, and know, not just as an idea but in your heart, that you are not separate from this. You are an intrinsic and inseparable part of this web of infinite, overflowing life. This understanding allows you to finally relax the getting muscle. Your mind has been trained for years to constantly strategize. How can I get more approval? How can I get more money? How can I get more security? This constant efforting is exhausting. Now, you can consciously practice letting it go. In your moments of quiet and stillness, feel into a state of simply being. You do not need to pull anything toward you. Your only work is to awaken to the truth of what you already are. You are not a vacuum that needs to be filled. You are the fullness of the universe itself. This is the ultimate shift in consciousness. It is the movement from a perception of yourself as a limited fragment searching for wholeness, to the direct experience of yourself as wholeness expressing itself, for a time, as a beautiful and unique fragment. Wealth is no longer a destination you must struggle to reach. It is the very ground upon which you stand, the very air you breathe, the very substance of your soul. You have arrived where you began, but for the first time, you know the place. When you begin to live from this profound realization, the entire purpose and texture of your life changes. It ceases to be a problem to be solved, a state of lack to be remedied, or a frantic race to be won. The pressure is off. The need to prove yourself dissolves. Life is no longer a finite game with winners and losers, a desperate struggle for limited resources. It becomes an infinite game, a glorious, moment-by-moment dance of creation and experience, played not to win, but for the pure and exquisite joy of the dance itself. It is now time to learn the steps of this dance, to learn how to live your daily life as a joyful embodiment of this magnificent truth. You have journeyed from the arid desert of unworthiness to the quiet, fertile banks of the river of your own mind. You have learned to see the treasures in its depths, and, in a moment of profound recognition, you have realized that you are not just the observer of the lake. You are the lake itself. You are not a wave, separate and vulnerable. You are the entire, boundless ocean. The long search is over. You have arrived home. This realization does not mark an end, but a radical new beginning. It changes the very nature of the game of life itself. For most of your life, you have been playing a finite game. A finite game, as the philosopher James P. Cass described, is played for the purpose of winning. It has a clear beginning and end, a set of fixed rules, and clear winners and losers. The finite game of wealth is the one the world taught you to play. The goal was to accumulate a certain amount of money, to achieve a certain status, to beat the competition, to win. The primary emotions of this game are fear, anxiety, and striving. The entire game is predicated on the idea of scarcity. But from your new state of consciousness, you are no longer interested in this stressful and ultimately unsatisfying game. You are now invited to play an infinite game. An infinite game is played not for the purpose of winning, but for the purpose of continuing the play. Its goal is not to reach a destination, but to revel in the process of the journey. Its primary emotion is not fear, but joy, not anxiety, but curiosity. The goal of the infinite game is to bring as many players as possible into the joyful dance. You are no longer playing the finite game of getting rich. You are now playing the infinite game of being wealth. What does this mean in your daily life? It means your metrics for success have fundamentally changed. In the finite game, you measured your success by the number in your bank account, by your job title, by the external validation you received. In the infinite game, your success is measured by your internal state. Was I joyful today? Did I act from a place of love? Did I feel a sense of peace and expansion? Did I learn something new? The bank account is no longer a measure of your worth. It is simply a tool, a form of energy that flows in and out of your experience. Like the weather, in the finite game, A financial loss or a business failure is a devastating event. It means you are losing the game. In the infinite game, there is no such thing as failure. There is only feedback. A loss is simply an experience, a lesson, a necessary detour on your bridge of incidents, providing you with the wisdom you need for the next phase of your expansion. You are not trying to win, you are committed to growing, and so you cannot lose. To truly grasp this new way of living, let us replace the metaphor of life as a race with a new one. Life is a dance. In a race, the entire purpose is to get to a finish line. The runner's head is down, their muscles are tense, their breath is ragged with effort. They are so focused on the future goal that they are completely absent from the journey itself. They do not see the beautiful scenery along the path. They do not feel the sensation of their powerful body in motion. Their entire experience is one of pain and struggle, endured for the sake of a fleeting moment of victory at the end. This is the old way. Now, imagine your life is a dance. What is the purpose of a dance? The purpose is not to arrive at a specific spot on the dance floor. If it were, the best dancers would be those who ran to a corner and stood there. The purpose of the dance is the dance itself. The purpose is to be exquisitely present in each movement, each step, each turn, each note of the music. As a dancer, in the infinite game of life, you learn to listen to the music. This music is your intuition, the subtle guidance of the universal flow. Sometimes the music is fast, joyful, and exuberant. These are your times of rapid expansion, of inspired action, of creation. You dance with passion and energy. Sometimes the music becomes slow, quiet, and tender. These are your times of stillness, of the pause, of integration and healing. You do not fight the change in tempo. You do not try to dance a frantic jig to a slow waltz. You flow with it, knowing that both rhythms are an essential part of the whole composition. Your partner in this dance is the universe. Sometimes you lead, stepping forward with a clear, inspired action. Sometimes you allow yourself to be led, surrendering to the flow and trusting your partner to guide you. It is a dynamic, beautiful partnership of doing and being, of giving and receiving. What happens if you make a misstep? In a race, a stumble is a catastrophe. In a dance, a misstep is simply part of the dance. You might laugh, you might find a new, creative way to move, you find the rhythm again, and you continue. There is no judgment, only the joy of movement. This is your new life. Your work is no longer to struggle toward a future destination called wealth. Your work is to embody wealth, to feel abundance in this step, in this moment, in this breath. How do you do that? You begin to find richness everywhere. You dance with the energy of wealth in the small moments. You savor the rich taste of your food. You appreciate the abundant beauty of a sunset. You feel the wealth of a deep, nourishing conversation with a friend. You are practicing the frequency of abundance, moment by moment. Your decisions now flow from a new source. The finite player asks, what is the safest choice? What choice will give me the biggest advantage? The infinite dancer asks, what is the most joyful choice? What choice feels the most expansive and alive? You begin to use joy as your compass, trusting that the path of your greatest joy is also the path of your greatest abundance. And as you live this way, something beautiful begins to happen. You stop seeing other people as competitors in your race. You begin to see them as fellow dancers on the floor. Their joy does not diminish your own. It adds to the beauty of the overall dance. You begin to play the infinite game with them. You celebrate their beautiful moves. You offer a hand when they stumble. Your very presence, your state of peace, trust, and joy in the dance becomes an invitation for them to leave their own frantic race and join you on the dance floor. You become a beacon of this new way of being. This is the ultimate embodiment of wealth. It is a life lived from a place of such deep inner sufficiency that the comings and goings of external fortune are met with a calm, playful, and unshakable grace. It is not an end point to be reached. It is a dance to be danced. Every day, every moment. You have learned the steps. You have heard the music. You have arrived home to the truth of your own magnificent, abundant self. Now, let us take one final look together at the beautiful landscape of this new world from your new vantage point. Let us distill this entire journey into a final, simple truth that you can carry in your heart forever. And so, our journey in words comes to a close. But your true journey, your own magnificent dance with life, is just beginning. These words have only ever been fingers pointing to the moon. You no longer need the finger, for you have remembered how to see the moon for yourself. We have traveled a long way together. We have walked with courage into the overgrown garden of the mind and pulled up the deep-rooted weeds of unworthiness. We have gently wiped the dust of years from the flawless diamond of your own intrinsic worth. We have sat by the shore of the still lake of the soul, allowing the ripples of hurry to subside so we could see the treasures of truth lying at the bottom. And at last, we stood at the ocean's edge and realized that you are not the lonely wave, but the entire, boundless ocean, expressing itself in a moment of glorious, temporary form. If there is a single image to carry with you from this journey, let it be this: you are a vessel. When you arrived here, that vessel may have been cracked by past wounds, dusty with old beliefs. Now, through the work of forgiveness and self-awareness, the cracks have been sealed with the gold of compassion. The dust has been rinsed clean. You are no longer a broken container, desperately trying to be filled from the outside. You are a whole, resonant, and receptive vessel. Do not fear this receptive emptiness. It is not lack, it is openness. A vessel that is already full can receive nothing more. But you, in your wholeness, are now a perfect chalice, ready for the endless river of life to flow through you. Your purpose is not to hoard the water, but to allow it to move through you freely, nourishing you and nourishing everything you touch in its passing. And so, as you step back into the world, carry this stillness in your heart. Let it be your anchor in the storm. Whenever you feel yourself being pulled back into the old race, the old story of scarcity, simply pause, place your hand on your heart, and remember this final whisper, the very breath of your new truth. Breathe in and know your worth. Breathe out and release all doubt. You are not becoming worthy. You are remembering you have always been. You are not chasing wealth. You are awakening to its presence. Be still and let it find you.